Chapter 3291. Ever since joining that organization, Sule had left her hometown and came to the foggy area. Now that she had left, she still hadn't returned. She was very worried about her clansmen. Second watch, she wanted to go back and take a look from the bottom of her heart. Hearing Sule's words, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, "Since you miss your hometown, I should also look for my family and friends. Let me make some arrangements and we'll leave." After saying that, he found Yun Yi and Xian Nian and made some arrangements with them. When he saw Yuan Tianlai, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast, and Bai Mei Sanren, he told them his itinerary. Then he picked up Supreme Ancestor Phoenix and the first Deputy City Lord and went to her hometown with Sule. As for Yuan Tianlia's hometown, he was prepared to go there when he was stronger. On the road to find his family, Night Sorrow was still very nervous. He was worried that he still wouldn't be able to find them. "Since you're so nervous, why don't we go to the Eternal Supreme World first, and then you can accompany me back to my hometown?" Along the way, Sule saw Night Sorrow's nervousness and said. She could feel the frustration in Night Sorrow's heart. "Okay, accompany me to search the Eternal Supreme World again. If there's nothing, we'll go to your hometown." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he and Sule searched the Eternal Supreme World together. However, according to the instructions of Supreme Ancestor Phoenix and the first Deputy City Lord, they searched several times but found nothing. He was sure that Supreme Longevity and his family were either hidden in a space that was difficult to find or had gone to a new realm together. At this time, the Eternal Supreme World was still ruled by the heaven-deceiving alien race. Night Sorrow couldn't stand this, but the most important thing for him was to find his family and friends. Therefore, he didn't attack these alien races. Under Sule's lead, they went to the Eternal Ancient Desolate World. After arriving at the Eternal Ancient Desolate World, Night Sorrow found that the aura here was older than the Eternal Supreme World. He judged that the cultivators here should be stronger than the Eternal Supreme World. Sigh. Sule, who had stepped onto this piece of land, let out a sigh. As soon as she returned to her hometown, she thought of her family and friends who had died tragically. Thinking of the bloody scene back then, her mind couldn't help but tremble. The dead are gone. My condolences. Night Sorrow saw Sule in such a state and immediately comforted him. In fact, how could he not be nervous? Supreme Phoenix comforted Qin Nan. "Night Sorrow, your family and friends should be hiding with the Supreme Longevity to recuperate. You don't have to be so sad." "That should be the case from my deduction, but I can't control my worry," Night Sorrow replied to the Ancestor Phoenix. At that moment, Ancestor Phoenix had become a middle earthly sovereign with the support of a large amount of resources provided by Night Sorrow. Her aura had become much more solid. The first Deputy City Master had been promoted to Upper Earthly Sovereign, and was not far from becoming a Heavenly Sovereign. In the Eternal Supreme World of the past, this level of strength would have allowed him to run amok. But right now, it was nothing. "Night Sorrow, accompany me to revisit this place." Sule, who had been silent in the void for a while, controlled his aura and said slowly. Going back to the place where she had experienced nightmares required courage. But she wanted to go back and bury her family, friends, and even officials properly. "It's my first time in the Eternal Ancient World. Lead the way." After Sule finished speaking, Yishang looked at her and said. In comparison, there was still a glimmer of hope for Night Sorrow. But Sule's family had been completely annihilated. This had become an irreversible fact. "In my hometown, I was one of the top leaders. I was named the strongest empress. I ruled for many years. This state lasted until that incident back then." During the flight, Sule said sorrowfully. Originally, most of the territory in the Eternal Ancient World was under her rule, and was very prosperous. But everything had changed overnight. "I'm thinking, was all of this planned by the organization that took you in?" After Sule finished speaking, Night Sorrow expressed his doubts. Logically speaking, in the isolated Eternal Ancient World, such a bloody incident should not have happened. Hearing this, Sule thought for a while and said, "I'm not sure. But if that's really the case, I'll definitely destroy that organization. I'll help you." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he continued to follow behind Sule and flew towards the place she wanted to go. After flying in the void for about 4 hours, Sule suddenly said doubtfully, "According to my memory, after flying for so long, we should have reached my territory. Why is it so desolate in front of me? Why are there broken walls everywhere? This place must have been attacked by some strong person on a large scale." Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe and judged. Could it be that my territory has been completely destroyed? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sule sighed in disbelief. She turned into Yujia and accelerated in the void. However, after flying for a few more hours with Night Sorrow, the scene in front of her was still ruined. There was not a single living cultivator in sight. Who did this? I want to take revenge. I want to take revenge. After flying for so long and not seeing a single living person, Sule, who had turned into Yujia, completely collapsed. Don't be like this. I found a cultivator. Let's go and ask. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had opened the sea serpent's eye, suddenly saw a cultivator in ragged clothes in the ruins. He said something to Sule and flew down to look for him. Hearing this, Sule turned into her human form and flew down. When the two of them landed on the ground, they found that this cultivator in ragged clothes had already gone crazy. Sitting in the ruins, he kept shouting in fear, "Don't kill me, I beg you. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't destroy my village." Who wants to kill you? Who destroyed your village? Sule sent out a stream of divine origin energy towards this male cultivator in ragged clothes and covered in dirt. She hoped that this stream of divine origin energy could wake him up a little. "Don't kill me, I beg you. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't destroy my village." However, the crazy male cultivator kept repeating the exact same words over and over again. At this moment, Supreme Ancestor Phoenix said, "You can directly read his memories. But after reading them, he should be completely crippled. I'll try using the power of merit. If it doesn't work, Sule will read his memories." Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Supreme Ancestor Phoenix. Then he gathered the power of merit and sent it towards the man in front of him. Using the power of merit, he purified his entire body. Not long after, the male cultivator's eyes became much clearer. About 30 breaths later, he knelt in front of Sule with a plop and said, "This commoner pays his respects to the emperor. Get up. Tell us what exactly happened." Seeing that the male cultivator had recovered, Sule's eyes immediately moistened. Chapter 3292. Because before the man spoke, Sule could already guess what had happened here. And things were similar to what Sule and Night Sorrow had guessed. After Sule left the eternal ancient barren world, a demon-like organization appeared here. The people of this organization burned, killed, and looted everywhere, sucking the blood of cultivators to cultivate. They were extremely evil. Moreover, their leader was half a step to the supreme realm. In the eternal ancient barren world, no one could fight against him. Over time, most of the cultivators in the eternal ancient barren world were killed. Originally, they thought that this world would be completely destroyed by that organization. But one day, another group of people appeared. Although they were weaker than the organization, they could barely fight against it. He wasn't being one-sided. Realizing that this group of people was not as evil as the other organization, the remaining cultivators in the eternal ancient barren world began to join them. After the group grew stronger, the two sides gradually reached a stalemate. After attacking the new force for a long time without success, the people of the organization began to attack continuously, destroying large amounts of land in the eternal ancient barren world to vent their anger. This caused great dissatisfaction between the new force and the cultivators of the eternal ancient barren world. But after they attacked, they did not gain any advantage in the confrontation. The losses on both sides were equally heavy. In the end, the male cultivator said, "I was separated from the team in a battle. I happened to come to my hometown and saw everything destroyed. Thinking of my family members who were killed, I was so sad that I went crazy. What's your name? Follow me from now on." Sule waited for the male cultivator to finish before asking. "Thank you, Your Majesty. My name is Lucheng." As Lucheng spoke, he knelt down in front of Sule. "Get up. Tell us a little. What are the names of the experts in the two forces?" Sule waved his hand and let Lucheng get up to continue. After Lu Qing got up, he thought for a moment and said, "The leader of the side that helped us is called Longevity Sky Supreme. But he's not the strongest. The strongest on this side is called Coiling Dragon Spear. He's also called Coiling Dragon Spear. He's half a step to the Supreme Realm." "Are you sure?" Hearing these two names, Knight Sorrow said excitedly. Without a doubt, if what this man said was true, then he had found his family. After all, Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun had left the eternal sovereign world with the supreme longevity. After Knight Sorrow asked, Lu Qing said confidently, "They are the benefactors of the eternal ancient barren world. How could I remember their names wrongly?" "Good. This is great. That's great." Hearing Lu Cheng's words, Knight Sorrow said good 3 times in a row. He was simply too happy. "Are these two the people you're looking for?" Seeing Knight Sorrow so excited, Sule immediately asked. "Yes. It was them. I didn't expect to find it so coincidentally." A smile appeared on Knight Sorrow's face. In fact, he was trying his luck by coming to the eternal ancient desolate world to find his family. Who would have thought that they would find their whereabouts so easily? "That's great. Lu Qing, take us to Longevity Heaven Supreme and the others." When Su Lei saw that Knight Sorrow was so happy, the gloominess in his heart was somewhat soothed. "Yes. Your Majesty the Empress. This lord. Please come with me." Lu Qing responded and prepared to fly into the void. However, he was still very weak at the moment. After flying for about 10 feet in the air, he fell back down. "Lu Qing, are you all right?" Su Lei hurriedly sent out a stream of divine origin energy to catch Lu Qing. "Your Majesty the Empress. Although I'm weak, it's not to the extent that I can't fly. There seems to be a defensive array in the sky." Lu Qing, who had spat out a mouthful of blood, replied. At the same time, terrifying bloody marks appeared on his body. The bloody marks quickly crawled all over Lu Cheng's body. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded in the void. "I didn't expect that leaving a lunatic as bait would yield results. Knight Sorrow, help me save him." At this moment, Su Lei ignored the cold voice in the void. Instead, he looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "I'll try." As Knight Sorrow responded, he sent out the Dragon of Merit and let it wrap around Lu Cheng's body. After being wrapped by the Dragon of Merit, the bloody marks immediately disappeared. In a few breaths of time, they completely disappeared from Lu Cheng's body. At this moment, Lu Cheng transmitted his voice to Knight Sorrow. "Benefactor. In order to avoid being killed after the battle, I'll tell you the location of the Longevity Sky Supreme." "Thank you. But you won't die. Enter my space grotto heaven." Knight Sorrow said and sent Lu Qing into the space grotto heaven. To him, Lu Qing was like a benefactor. He could not be killed so easily. After sending Lu Qing into the space, Knight Sorrow looked at Su Lei and said, "Lu Qing is safe now. But it seems that we'll have to go through a bloody battle. They've been prepared for this." "No worries. I'm also thinking of killing some people from the organization to vent my anger." Su Lei stood on the familiar ground. The domineering aura on his body was once again displayed. With a roar, he transformed into Yujia and spat out a mouthful of flames at one of the cultivators. However, the flames were quickly blocked by the array in the void. "Don't be in a hurry to attack. The array in front of us seems to be set up by a half-step to the Supreme Realm expert. It's not easy to deal with." Knight Sorrow, who had activated the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe, discovered that the array in front of them was extraordinary. It was something that ordinary heavenly sovereigns could not set up. Hence, he summoned the formation-breaking hammers and said, "We've encountered some trouble. Let's think of a way to break the array." This array was indeed set up by a half-step to the Supreme Realm expert. However, his attainments in movement techniques are limited. "We should be able to break it." The male hammer in the formation-breaking hammers observed for a while, and said with certainty, "All right. Then I'll have to trouble you." As Knight Sorrow replied, he reminded Su Lei, "They didn't attack immediately. They're summoning nearby experts. There are more and more cultivators coming this way. There are about 30 to 40 of them. It should be a tough battle for us. The more the better." At this moment, Su Lei's face was cold and arrogant. Today, she was prepared to kill. "All right. Then prepare for battle." Night Sorrow replied and continued to use the sea serpent's eye to observe the enemies around him. All of a sudden, he saw a familiar person. This person was actually Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath, who had chased after him nonstop. Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath, so you're from this evil organization. Seeing Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath's figure, Night Sorrow's eyes narrowed. At this moment, Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath also noticed Night Sorrow. When he realized that the one trapped was Night Sorrow, he sneered. "Kid, I thought I would never see you again. I didn't expect you to walk right into my trap today." Chapter 3293. You have no right to say that I'm walking into a trap. After observing with the eye of the sea serpent, Night Sorrow realized that Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath was an upper Heavenly Sovereign. Such a cultivation was naturally superior to him, but his aura didn't seem like much. He must have used some kind of secret technique to quickly raise his cultivation level. His foundation wasn't solid at all. In battle, he wasn't much stronger than a middle Heavenly Sovereign. Haha. Kid, you don't have to be stubborn. You'll understand in a while what it means to be unable to escape. Let's see how you're going to escape this time. Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath laughed. In his opinion, he would be able to gather more than 40 Heavenly Sovereigns soon. Such a force. It wasn't something that Night Sorrow and Sule could fight against. After all, one of them was a lower Heavenly Sovereign, while the other was an upper Heavenly Sovereign. Against trash like you, I don't need to escape. Night Sorrow looked at Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath and said. He paused for a moment and continued. By the way, your Blackthorn Crystal Vein isn't bad to use. Bastard. Hearing Night Sorrow mention the Blackthorn Crystal Vein, Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath's expression became extremely gloomy. If he had obtained the Blackthorn Crystal Vein, his strength would have increased greatly. Night Sorrow. The formation in front of us looks powerful, but it's actually weak. In less than 10 breaths, we'll be able to break it open. Get ready for battle. At this moment, the male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer suddenly transmitted his voice. You can break it open so quickly. Very good. Night Sorrow praised and transmitted his voice to Sule. Get ready for battle. The formation is about to be broken. I'm already prepared. Sule replied in a cold tone. She looked at the many cultivators in front of her with a murderous look in her eyes. She obviously hated these people who had destroyed her home. 3, 2, 1. Kill. Night Sorrow could feel the hatred from Sule. He transmitted his voice and activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic Technique and the Destruction Mystic ability. When he raised his status, he immediately summoned the half-step Supreme Divine Artifact, the Golden Heavenly Halberd. Suddenly, he unleashed his Divine Spear at Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath. To him, there was no need to use Extreme Flame Phantasm directly. Brat, it's been a while since we last met. Seems like your strength has improved. However, I'm not the only one who wants to kill you today. When Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath saw how powerful Night Sorrow's attack was, he immediately took out a secret treasure to defend against it. Night Sorrow's spear struck the artifact and directly shattered it. Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath took the opportunity to dodge. At this moment, the other cultivators beside Heavenly Supremacy Cloudy Breath reacted as well. Almost at the same time, they attacked Night Sorrow and Sule. Kill. Sule, who had been silent for a long time, also roared at this moment. Then he transformed into Yujia. Fight with the cultivators in front of him. She unleashed her strongest attack right from the start. That was a stance of going all out without holding back at all. In just a few rounds he had already killed 4 or 5 Heavenly Sovereigns. These Heavenly Sovereigns were the same as Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath. They were not stable at all. They, who had used evil techniques to advance, could not be compared to Sule, who had used the Supreme Heavenly Origin Pill to advance. Good job killing them. However, you must protect yourselves. Night Sorrow, who was in the middle of the battle, reminded loudly. He had already used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heavens when he was surrounded. He shuttled through the crowd and killed his opponents consecutively. The dozens of people in front of him looked aggressive, but their true strength was obviously far from his. Night Sorrow did not even use the Eternal Divine Tower or Extreme Flame Phantasm. As the battle progressed, Heavenly Sovereign Cloudbreath's expression changed completely as he saw the cultivators in his organization being killed one after another. He began to use a secret technique to send voice transmissions to summon even more powerful experts. He could already see that although he had the advantage in numbers, it was like a tiger surrounded by sheep. He could not see any chance of winning. As for the other cultivators present, they began to use their secret techniques. One by one, they were bleeding from all 7 orifices. They looked neither human nor ghost, and were extremely ferocious. Today, I will pay for all the sins you have committed in the past. Seeing so many cultivators become like this, Sule let out a roar and unleashed the Nirvana Heart Flame. The move she used was obviously purer and more powerful than Night Sorrow's. In an instant, she killed a few of those who were unstable. However, at this point in the battle, Sule, who had continuously used her ultimate skills, was obviously unstable. Seeing her like this, Night Sorrow reminded her, "Pay attention to your recovery. Leave the rest to me." "Thank you. However, today, I will kill until I am exhausted." Sule replied and started to fight with the cultivators of the organization again. "All right." Night Sorrow replied and also started to fight with the enemies in front of him. After these people's bodies changed, their strength increased by a lot. However, they were still a far cry from him, who could barely compete with someone who was half a step to the Supreme Realm. Not long after, he and Sule killed another dozen of them. Seeing that there were only a dozen of them left, Cloudbreath Heavenly Supreme, who had been hiding at the back and did not dare to fight Night Sorrow directly, started to panic. After thinking for a while, he sent a message to the remaining cultivators and said, "Everyone, don't fight anymore. Let's escape together." "Escape together? Who gave you this order?" At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the void. An upper Heavenly Supreme in black armor appeared in the void, riding on a colorful tiger. "Third leader! Third leader! Third leader!" Seeing the appearance of this upper Heavenly Supreme in black armor, everyone started to shout, "Family! It's you!" Seeing this person, Sule's murderous aura increased several times. This was because this person in front of her was the one who had saved her and brought her into the fog. It seemed like the organization that had destroyed her divine kingdom and killed her family and friends back, then was the organization that she had worked for. Sule, if you continue to be a fool and work for the organization, you can keep your life. However, you have found out that what happened back then was done by us. Then, you won't have the chance to continue living. Die. Family knew that Sule had found out everything by now and could no longer control himself. He was ready to kill him. How arrogant. You think you are qualified to give orders? Night Sorrow looked at Family and saw that his strength was obviously stronger than an ordinary upper Heavenly Supreme. He was only a step away from being half a step to the Supreme Realm, and he had a half a step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact. However, he was confident that he could kill him instantly. Night Sorrow, leave this person to me. I want to kill him with my own hands. Help me get rid of the others. At this moment, Sule stopped Night Sorrow, who was about to attack, and said word by word. Chapter 3294. The killing intent in Sule's heart could not be suppressed at all. She wanted to kill Family with her own hands to avenge her country. Night Sorrow looked at Sule and said after a moment of silence, "Do it. I'll get rid of the other obstacles for you." "Thank you." Sule expressed his gratitude and transformed into Yujia's appearance, once again to battle with Family. After observing for a moment, and seeing that Sule was not at a disadvantage, Night Sorrow started to kill the other cultivators present. He killed everyone, including Heavenly Sovereign Yinshi. Then, he floated in the air and continued to watch the battle between Sule and Family. Seeing that Night Sorrow had dealt with all the troubles, Sule, who was no longer worried about sneak attacks, felt that the battle had become much easier. "I didn't expect your strength to increase so much in these years. However, in front of a half-step Supreme Realm Divine Artifact, your strength is still not enough." After fighting for a while, Family suddenly realized that he could no longer suppress Sule. He said coldly. He had already taken out the half-step Supreme Realm Divine Artifact, Kuan Sky Urn, and smashed it toward Sule. Don't think that you're the only one with a half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact. At this moment, Sule suddenly took out an Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold sword. This sword was made by her using the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold. It was a true half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact, but it had not been named yet. After taking out the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold sword, Sule transformed into a human again and stabbed toward Fan Li's Kuan Sky Urn. This sword contained extremely scorching flames. It hit the Kuan Sky Urn and caused a crack to appear on it. The flames followed these cracks and quickly climbed up the Kuan Sky Urn, burning it completely. What? Even a half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact can be destroyed? Seeing the situation in front of him, Fan Li roared in disbelief. Knowing that it was useless to take back the Kuan Sky Urn, he immediately roared, "Blood Fiend True Body!" In an instant he, who looked like a normal cultivator, turned into a terrifying figure covered in blood fiends. Fan Li, I thought of you as my benefactor. Now, it seems that you're the most despicable existence in the world. There's no need for you to live. I'll let you have a taste of my strongest technique. Sword and feather become one. Sule roared angrily and soared into the air once again. He merged Yujia's body with the Extreme Flame Golden Phoenix sword. He turned into a stream of light and shot toward Fan Li. Sword and feather as one? In my opinion, this is all there is to it. Go to hell. The current Fan Li had just transformed into the Blood Fiend True Body. It was precisely when he was confident. His choice was to confront Sule head-on. Boom. After the two of them collided, a huge hole was blasted in the void. Other than Night Sorrow, everything within 100,000 miles was reduced to nothingness. As for Sule and Fan Li, after this attack, they were both severely injured. However, Fan Li was floating in the air and had already lost consciousness. Sule woke up not long after. After getting up, she found the slightly damaged Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold sword. He was prepared to kill Fan Li. At this moment, Night Sorrow flew over and said, "You can keep this person. After all, he was an important figure in the organization. He should have a very good understanding of the people in the organization and many other things. If we interrogate him properly in the future, it should be beneficial to the overall situation." Alright. In order to completely destroy this demonic organization, I will spare his life. After Sule finished speaking, she kept Fan Li into the space grotto heaven. Then, she faced a direction and knelt down saying silently, "My family, my citizens, I Sule, will definitely avenge you. Rest in peace. Your injuries are not good. It's better for you to recover in my space grotto heaven." At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had used the sea serpent's eye to observe Sule, advised. At this moment, although Sule had the upper hand after clashing head-on with Fan Li, her injuries were obviously not light. However, when she heard this, Sule rejected. "No need. My family and citizens are all watching me. I will not compromise with this organization." "Alright. I respect your choice," Night Sorrow said. Then, under Lu Cheng's command, he brought Sule to find the place where Supreme Longevity and the others were staying. After flying for 5 days and 5 nights in the ruins of the eternal ancient barren world, they arrived in front of an ocean. At this moment, Lu Cheng pointed into the distance and said, "There is a very large island in front of us. It is also the only place in the eternal ancient barren world that has escaped disaster other than the organization's headquarters. Supreme Longevity and the others are currently on the island. Thank you. When we reach the island, I will give you a lot of resources to repair your body and let you walk the path of cultivation again. This time, you can be considered to have been washed clean and have been reborn. Cherish it well." After saying this, Sule looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Let's go." "Actually, I'm a little nervous now. I'm afraid that my family and friends are not here, or that they are not all here." Night Sorrow replied Sule and flew side by side with her on the blue sea. After flying for more than 2 days, they finally saw the huge island in front of them. This island was very large, almost equivalent to 30 territories in the eternal supreme world. From afar, Night Sorrow could see that there was a huge protective layer above the island. When they got closer, he calmed down and looked at the island. Night Sorrow requests to see Senior Longevity. This voice was not only loud and clear, but it also circled above the island. Soon, everyone on the island heard it. Not long after, Supreme Longevity appeared above the void with a few people. Seeing Night Sorrow, Supreme Longevity immediately said excitedly, "Night Sorrow, it's really you. That's great, your family and friends are all on the island. Senior Longevity, you have worked hard." Night Sorrow anxiously scanned with his soul energy, and found that although Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun did not come with Supreme Longevity, they had already rushed over from the island. Xiao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, Jin Xian and the others were the same. After confirming that they were all fine, he immediately relaxed and greeted Supreme Longevity. Sigh. At this time, Supreme Longevity sighed and said, "If I had my previous body, I might not have been lost in the eternal supreme world this time. What a pity." Senior Longevity, don't sigh. I will think of a way to help you. Currently, I have already snuck into the middle of Lutian Academy. I might find a suitable body for you there. Night Sorrow comforted him and continued, "The heaven-deceiving tribe is not a threat at all. Our biggest enemy is still the 3 Supremes in the fog. Currently, the most important thing is not to take back the eternal supreme world, but to cultivate a few top fighters." Chapter 3295. That's right. Without Jizun, even if we can take back the eternal supreme world, we won't be able to defend it. The humiliating history of the past will repeat itself. Supreme Longevity frowned sternly. Compared to others, what he lacked was not intelligence, but a body that could withstand his talent. Senior Longevity, have you seen Senior Heaven Defying? Did you see Yan Jizuen? Meanwhile, Yi Shuang asked. The Heaven Defying sword was to help Supreme Longevity and find Yan Jizuen according to his instructions. He did not see him, so he asked, "Is the Heaven Defying sword you're talking about half a step to the Supreme Realm?" Supreme Longevity looked at Night Sorrow. "Yes. That's him." Night Sorrow nodded. "Yes, and he helped us a lot. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to escape." Supreme Longevity continued, "But he stayed in the eternal supreme world, saying that he was looking for Yan Jizuen. We haven't seen him since we arrived here. Also, we haven't seen Yan Jizuen." "Okay, got it." Night Sorrow nodded, then asked, "By the way, Senior Longevity, before I came, did you guys have a plan for what to do next?" "Our plan is to find a chance to destroy the Blood Evil organization and completely occupy the eternal ancient barren world, so that everyone can rest and recuperate. I'll bring some people to the foggy area to look for opportunities." Supreme Longevity looked into the distance and said, he was looking at the Blood Evil organization's base. That was Sulei's palace. Relatively speaking, it's much faster to raise one's strength in the foggy area. I'll try my best to occupy a place there, and provide a place for everyone to cultivate. I've already joined the middle court of the Lutian Academy, and my position is not bad. I should have a chance to occupy a bigger territory, and then I can bring many people over. Night Sorrow slowly explained the situation in the foggy area. When he heard this, Supreme Exalt Changsheng patted Yi Shang on the shoulder and said, "Very good. We'll do as you say. With you and the power of virtue, the people we send over won't have to worry about losing their minds." "All right, then it's decided. Besides, I have already advanced to the Heavenly Sovereign level, so I should be able to help in the battle with the Blood Evil organization. Why don't we plan to attack them in the next few days? Try to eliminate them as soon as possible." Night Sorrow said coldly. He then continued, "So that they won't reveal everyone's situation and attract people from the foggy area. In the battle just now, I've already discovered a Heavenly Sovereign from the foggy area." "Yes. Before you came, we already had the intention of having a decisive battle with them. Although the cultivators on our side are weaker than them in terms of overall cultivation, the difference between the two sides isn't that great. The key to the battle is still to submit to the strongest few forces." Supreme Longevity looked into the distance. "With your participation, our chances of winning will increase by 30 to 40%. I hope so. There should be quite a number of Heavenly Sovereigns on their side. There shouldn't be many on our side, right?" Night Sorrow continued to ask. He thought about how he and Sule had encountered dozens of heavenly sovereigns the moment they came to the eternal ancient desolate world. He could tell that the Blood Evil organization definitely had quite a number of heavenly sovereigns. Indeed, we don't have many heavenly sovereigns on our side. However, many Earth sovereigns have the ability to contend with the heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Evil organization. Hence, the difference in strength between the two sides isn't that great. Supreme Longevity added. Then he saw Wu Lingfei and Jingyun rushing over. He immediately smiled at Night Sorrow and said, "Let's put aside the matter of attacking the Blood Evil organization for now. Go and reunite with your family first. In the distance, your friends are already on their way." "All right," Night Sorrow responded. He then looked at Wu Lingfei and Jingyun. "It's all my fault. I've caused you to suffer." At this moment, Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "What's your cultivation now?" "I'm currently a lower heavenly sovereign," Night Sorrow said, a little confused. He didn't expect Wu Lingfei's first question to be about his cultivation. Lower heavenly sovereign. Not bad. Our years of waiting and sacrifice have been worth it. Wu Lingfei nodded. In these years, she and Jingyun had encountered many dangers. Once, Jingyun was almost killed by the Heavenly Deceiver tribe. Fortunately, the coiling dragon spear arrived at the critical moment and killed the heavenly sovereign of the Heavenly Deceiver tribe. All these years. At this moment, Night Sorrow wanted to say something, but he didn't say it out loud. He regretted not bringing Wu Lingfei and Jingyun along at that time. "Let's go back and talk about our family matters." Jingyun looked at Yishan, then looked at the surrounding crowd and said, "Don't worry." She felt a little uncomfortable with so many people watching them reminisce about the past. "All right." Night Sorrow responded and introduced Sule to Wu Lingfei and Jingyun. Then, he brought him to the Supreme Longevity and asked them to help him settle down. He, Wu Lingfei, and Jingyun flew towards the two women's residence. On the way, they naturally met Xiao Tianxian, Wan Jianzong, and the others. The three of them, who were about to talk about their daily lives, immediately started drinking with them. As they drank, Night Sorrow told everyone about the foggy area. "This time, after we kill the Blood Fiend organization, you have to bring everyone to the foggy area. Look, we were all earthly sovereigns. Now we have to put in a lot of effort to advance to earthly sovereign. But you are already a heavenly sovereign. Plus, you have the ability to fight across realms. The difference between us is like heaven and earth." After Night Sorrow finished, Wan Jianzong pretended to be bitter. "That's right, the difference between us is really too big," Jin Xian also said. At this moment, he was also an earthly sovereign. "Ha, good. This time, I will not leave a single one behind and bring all of you there. Let's break through to a higher realm together," Night Sorrow solemnly promised after drinking a bowl of wine. All these years, he had been in the foggy area and lacked the company of friends. It was indeed lonely. After all, Sule, Dancing Woman, and the others were not like friends. "We want to go too." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Jingyun looked at him and said, she did not want to go through years of separation again. "Good. Let's all go. Everyone present, let's go together. It just so happens that we have a tough battle over there. I am prepared to destroy a family with a strong foundation over there. I will take their territory for myself, so that everyone can cultivate in peace there." Yishang recounted his plan to exterminate the Lin clan once more. Then he asked everyone what they had experienced over the years. The more they asked, the more shocked they were. Back then, if they had not coincidentally found the entrance to the eternal ancient desolate world, they would have probably died in the eternal supreme world. Chapter 3296. In the future, I, Night Sorrow, will never let anyone experience such danger again. After hearing everyone speak, Yishang took a big gulp of wine and promised. If they hadn't discovered the entrance to the eternal ancient desolate world, they would have been killed by the heaven-deceiving alien tribe and the traitors of the eternal supreme world. After all, he wasn't there at the crucial moment. "We believe in you." After Yishang finished speaking, Jingyun added another sentence. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow thoughtfully. Night Sorrow took out some extreme flame phoenix gold and distributed it to everyone. Basically, it was enough for everyone to make a half-step supreme divine artifact. As for the rest, if he reached a certain level, he could still make a supreme divine artifact after refining it. After receiving the extreme flame phoenix gold, Xiao Tianxian, the myriad sword sect, and the others were excited. After all, the final battle with the Blood Evil organization was about to begin. If everyone could make a half-step supreme divine artifact, the battle would be much more comfortable. After the banquet, they left and returned to their own residences to make half-step supreme divine artifacts. When only Night Sorrow, Jingyun, and Wu Lingfei were left, Night Sorrow looked at them and said, "What divine artifacts do you two want? I'll make them for you personally. I'll make an umbrella for Jingyun. I don't want to participate in battles for a while," Wu Lingfei said after Night Sorrow finished speaking. "What's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei and asked with concern. "Sister, I'm pregnant, so I can't fight anymore." Jingyun looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Pregnant? Really?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow's expression became very interesting. He didn't expect Wu Lingfei to be able to have a child as an Earth Supreme. After being stunned for a moment, he laughed out loud. Seeing Night Sorrow like this, Wu Lingfei said seriously, "Night Sorrow, now that I'm pregnant, I have a lot of thoughts that are different from before. I want to tell you something, but I don't know if you'll listen." "Go ahead." Night Sorrow knew that Wu Lingfei had something to say, so he immediately responded. "In the past, I always thought that you were a hero, guarding the 4 directions. But now that I'm pregnant, I can't help but feel a little worried. I'm afraid that something will happen to you. I'm afraid that after the child is born, he won't be able to see his father." Wu Lingfei sighed. The eternal Paragon world is on the verge of being destroyed, and even the God world is in danger. This is something we absolutely cannot accept. I support you. Quickly increase your strength and destroy the heaven-deceiving race. Remove the threat of the fog. But you must pay attention to your own safety. No matter what, you must preserve your life. Can you promise me that? Actually, she wasn't being pretentious. After a woman had a child, her mentality would change. Everyone would think about a lot of things for no reason. Not to mention that Night Sorrow was facing such a difficult situation. I promise you, in the future, no matter how intense the battle is, I will successfully exterminate the heaven-deceiving alien race and eliminate the threat of the fog, so that everyone could live a comfortable life. I will see my family and friends in the God world. And no matter how difficult it is, I will return. Night Sorrow swore a blood oath seriously, then looked at Wu Lingfei. Ordinary people will give birth after 10 months of pregnancy. I'm afraid our child won't be born so easily. How is the little guy now? I've been pregnant for 300 years, but the little guy hasn't grown up yet. You can listen for yourself. Hearing Night Sorrow's question, Yi Jingyun smiled and pressed his head against Wu Lingfei's belly. Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't open the sea serpent's eye to look at his child. He gently pressed his head against Wu Lingfei's belly and listened carefully. However, the little guy hadn't moved yet. After listening for a while, he still didn't hear anything. At this time, Wu Lingfei said softly, "If there's no obvious movement after 300 years of pregnancy, I think this little guy will need 10 million years to successfully come. I only hope that by then, the threat of the fog will have been eliminated. The world will be at peace." After gaining the charm, whether it was the tone of her speech or the tone of her voice, it had become much gentler. There was more and more motherly charm in her voice. I will do my best to eliminate all threats." Night Sorrow gently stroked Wu Lingfei's belly with his fingertips and promised. He wasn't 100% confident in this matter, but he was 100% determined. "Okay. I believe in you," Wu Lingfei said softly, then continued. "After being pregnant, I always feel tired. I'm going to rest for a while. You can go and forge a divine artifact for Jingyun." "Okay. Jingyun's strength will increase, and she will be able to protect you and the child better." Night Sorrow nodded and looked at Jingyun. "Let's go out. I will protect you well, sister," Jingyun promised. Her real age was much older than Wu Lingfei, but from the time they spent together, she could clearly feel Wu Lingfei's steadiness and magnanimity. In the end, she called her sister. Are you sure you want an umbrella? After leaving Wu Lingfei's residence, Night Sorrow looked at Jing Yun and asked. Yes. After you left, I happened to get an umbrella-shaped earthly sovereign divine artifact. I used it to fight all the time. However, it was destroyed in the hands of the heaven-deceiving tribe. Jing Yun said, then continued. Also, sister and I feel that an umbrella can give people a sense of security. Okay. Then we will forge a new umbrella-shaped divine artifact. Jing Yun's words made Night Sorrow's heart ache. He had a lot of responsibilities to shoulder. He had the sentiments of a country. This also caused him to have very little time to accompany and protect the two women. He felt even more guilty towards his family in the realm of the gods. Night Sorrow then took out a portion of the extreme flame phoenix gold and forged a flaming umbrella-shaped divine artifact for Jing Yun. As Jing Yun had the phoenix bloodline, it was very suitable for her to use. However, she was only a lower earthly sovereign and couldn't activate the strongest power of the extreme flame phoenix gold umbrella. Even so, Jing Yun was very happy. She caressed the divine artifact and couldn't bear to part with it. In the next half a month, Night Sorrow stayed by Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei's side and lived a simple life with them. Until one day, Supreme Longevity suddenly sent a voice transmission. Night Sorrow, come quickly for a meeting. The Blood Evil organization seems to be up to something. Oh. Are we going to strike first to gain the upper hand? I will rush over immediately. Night Sorrow replied, then looked at Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei apologetically. Before he could say anything, Wu Lingfei looked at him and said firmly, Go. Remember what I said. Okay. Take care. Night Sorrow took a good look at the two women, then turned and flew towards the meeting hall. He knew that Supreme Longevity's voice transmission was so urgent. It must mean that a war was about to break out. Chapter 3297. Senior Longevity, what's going on? When Night Sorrow arrived at the meeting hall, there were already many people gathered there. About 70% of them were from the Eternal Supreme World, and about 30% were from the Eternal Ancient Barren World like Su Lei. Among them, there were only about 10 Sky Supremes, and the rest were Earth Supremes. Coiling Dragon Spear and Supreme Longevity sat in the main seats. Yi Shang asked as he walked into the meeting hall, and sat down in an empty seat below them. It's like this. Everyone, please look at the map. After Night Sorrow sat down, Supreme Longevity immediately took out a map of the Eternal Ancient Barren World and opened it. Then he pointed to 3 marked points on the map and said, These 3 marked points are our sentry posts on the land. Today we lost contact with them at the same time. I suspect that the Blood Evil organization wiped out these 3 sentry posts. They should be preparing to attack our base. 3 sentry posts, no news at all? After Supreme Longevity finished speaking, the second deputy city lord of the Heavenly Realm City asked. Yes. They didn't send back any news. They should have been killed by a powerful cultivator. Supreme Longevity nodded and said, Our original plan was to prepare for half a month of battle resources, and then launch an all-out attack on the Blood Evil organization. I didn't expect them to make the first move. There are many women and children on the island, as well as people with low cultivation. If a battle breaks out, we'll be fine, but they'll definitely be affected. The casualties will be heavy. We can't let the Blood Evil organization lead the battle to the island. After Supreme Longevity finished speaking, Night Sorrow said coldly, Currently, the people on the island were all the people of the Eternal Supreme World in the future. If the Blood Evil organization attacked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Night Sorrow is right. We have to stop the enemy from entering the island. Now whether it's the Eternal Supreme World or the Eternal Ancient Barren World, most of the remaining people are here. We can't afford to lose them. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Su Lei immediately stood up and said, Currently, she had gained the recognition of the remaining people of the Eternal Ancient Barren World, and became their new empress. The empress is right. We can't afford such a loss. We have to attack. A male cultivator from the Eternal Ancient Barren World shouted after Su Lei had finished speaking. You're right. Now it was very likely that the people from the Blood Evil organization would arrive soon. For the sake of everyone in the 2 realms, We must do our best to keep all the enemies outside the formation. Therefore, except for those with special circumstances, all the earthly sovereigns and heavenly sovereigns on the island need to go out and fight. After Supreme Longevity finished his impassioned speech, he continued, "The battle may come at any time, so I won't say much about it. Everyone, go back and gather all your strength. Prepare to fight with me." "Good. Let's go back and gather our men." After Su Lei and the others responded, they each went back to organize their own people. After everyone had left, Supreme Longevity turned to Night Sorrow and said, "I'm aware of the situation of your two wives. If a battle breaks out in the near future, don't summon them." "Thank you, Senior. I will bring out their fighting strength." Yi Shang brought his fists together and did not decline the request. "I know. You alone are equivalent to thousands of soldiers and horses." Supreme Longevity smiled and patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Then he frowned and said, "Therefore, there's a very dangerous task that I need you to do." "What is it?" Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. "In the base of the Blood Evil organization, there's a blood altar. This altar was built with the blood of countless living beings. It's the source of power for the members of the Blood Evil organization. If you can destroy this altar when the battle starts, our chances of winning will increase from 40% to 70%. Supreme Longevity explained, "I need to restrain the leader of the Blood Evil organization together with the coiling dragon spear. Otherwise, I'll go myself. If I destroy this altar, how much will the fighting strength of the members of the Blood Evil organization decrease?" Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. He felt that if he fought head-on, he could at least kill dozens of heavenly sovereigns. If he were to destroy the altar, it would be a waste of his talents. Supreme Longevity thought for a while and said, "According to the information we received, once the altar is destroyed, the fighting strength of all the members of the Blood Evil organization will decrease by 50%, and they will become very weak. In that case, they won't be a threat to us. So it can achieve such an effect. In that case, it's worth it to lose one of our fighting strength. Shall I set off immediately?" Night Sorrow heard Supreme Longevity's explanation and felt that he had to do it. "It's best if you set off immediately. But now that we have lost our sentry, we can't be sure where the members of the Blood Evil organization are. If you go out now, it might be very dangerous." Supreme Longevity thought for a while and said, "It's okay. I have the eye of the sea serpent and can detect the enemy's position in advance. Besides, my speed is very fast. Other than those who are half a step to the Supreme Realm, no one should be able to catch up with me." Yi Shang said before continuing, "Senior Changsheng, I'm not sure if you'll be able to survive. I'll set off now. If the island is dangerous, please take care of my wife." What he needed to do now was very dangerous. Bringing Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun with him might not be as safe as leaving them on the island, so he didn't plan to bring them along. Supreme Longevity nodded and promised, "Don't worry. As long as I'm alive, they won't be harmed at all. Even if I die, I'll think of a way to send them away." "Thank you, Senior Changsheng. I'll set off now. Su Lei is quite strong and trustworthy. You can rest assured with her." Night Sorrow flew out of the meeting hall and returned to Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun's residence. He told them what he was going to do. After Night Sorrow finished, Wu Lingfei said with a serious expression, "This is a moment of life and death for the eternal supreme world, and the eternal ancient desolate world. You have a heavy responsibility on your shoulders. We'll protect ourselves. Don't worry and go." Jing Yun also understood the importance of this matter. She hugged Night Sorrow and said, "Husband, take care. This battle is very important to the two worlds. But to us, the most important thing is still you. Don't worry, I'll complete the mission successfully and return safely. The Blood Evil organization will most likely send out all their forces to attack us. The rear will be very empty. This mission seems dangerous, but it's actually not too difficult." Night Sorrow comforted the two women. In fact, he knew very well that the Blood Evil altar was so important to the Blood Evil organization. They would definitely guard it heavily. After speaking, Night Sorrow set up the 5-bull formation near Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun, as well as the formation he learned from Dancing Lady. Chapter 3298. After setting up the formation, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment, and took out the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold. With the help of the seal-breaking hammer, he created an Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle that could break seals. He handed it to Wu Lingfei and said, "Lingfei, your body is not well and not suitable for battle. This Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle is a half-step supreme divine artifact. If the island falls into enemy hands and you are discovered, control it and escape." "Okay. I'll take this Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle. Don't worry and go complete the mission. Don't worry about us," Wu Lingfei said softly after accepting the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle. She could feel that Knight Sorrow was reluctant to part with them, and she was very touched. "I'm going." Knight Sorrow looked at the two women affectionately again, then waved his sleeves and flew into the sky. After Knight Sorrow's figure disappeared into the horizon, Jing Yun comforted Wu Lingfei, "Sister, don't worry. He will come back." Although every time he would return successfully, she couldn't help but worry. At the same time, she felt sorry for him. After so many years, he hasn't had a good rest. He always carries the heaviest burden on his shoulders. Wu Lingfei sighed and said. At this moment, she was pregnant, and there was a hint of laziness in her movements. Hearing this, Jing Yun also sighed and said, "Yes, it hasn't been easy for husband all this time. I really hope that one day in the future, we can be reunited as a family and live a carefree life without caring about worldly affairs." "That's right." Wu Lingfei nodded and said. Then, they chatted for a long time until Myriad Sword Sect came to see them. They ordered someone to bring Myriad Sword Sect into the courtyard. Myriad Sword Sect greets sisters-in-law. "Seeing that the battle is about to start, where is Brother Yi? We are ready to fight side by side with him." Myriad Sword Sect immediately asked when he saw Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun walk out of the room. He left to carry out a very difficult mission. Hearing Myriad Sword Sect's question, Jing Yun directly answered. She knew that Myriad Sword Sect and Knight Sorrow had a good relationship, so there was no need to hide this matter. Carrying out a mission? He couldn't have gone to the Blood Fiend's base alone to destroy the Blood Fiend altar, right? Upon hearing Jing Yun's words, Master Wan Jian asked with his eyes wide open. "Lower your voice. This mission was classified. Don't spread it around." Master Wan Jian's voice was a bit loud, so Wu Lingfei immediately reminded him. "But the Blood Fiend altar is the most important thing to the Blood Fiend organization. They will definitely send many experts to guard it. If Brother Yi were to head there alone, wouldn't he be throwing his life away?" The 10,000 Sword Sect's expression was bitter. After thinking for a moment, he said, "No. I'll ask Senior Chongqing for permission to bring people to support Brother Yi." "Stop." Seeing that the 10,000 Sword Sect was about to go to the Supreme Longevity, Wu Lingfei immediately stopped him. "If we send a large number of people to destroy the Blood Fiend's altar, we won't be able to hold on until the Blood Fiends invade the island. If that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. You, Brother Xiao, and the others can't go and help. But if Brother Yi doesn't have anyone to support him on this mission, it's really a suicide mission." The 10,000 Sword Sect said with a hint of helplessness between his brows. He also knew that Wu Lingfei's words made sense. There was no problem with the Supreme Longevity's arrangement, but he was worried that something would happen to Knight Sorrow. "It's enough for Knight Sorrow to have friends like you. Leave the matter of destroying the Blood Fiend altar to him alone. I believe that he will definitely complete the mission." Wu Lingfei looked into the distance with a determined gaze. "This all right." The 10,000 Sword Sect sighed and said, "Don't worry, sisters-in-law. No matter how terrifying the Blood Fiend's attack is, we will protect you for Knight Sorrow. We don't need special treatment. Go and prepare for the battle." Wu Lingfei was naturally grateful when she heard the 10,000 Sword Sect's words, but she still refused. Although she was pregnant, she didn't want to be a burden. After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, Jing Yun continued, "Go and fight in peace. I'll protect my sister here." "All right. We will protect the island with our lives," the 10,000 Sword Sect said, then turned to look for Xiao Tianxian and the rest. He was prepared to go with them to the Supreme Longevity to report to the Blood Fiends for the battle to the death. At this time, Night Sorrow was already 1,000,000 miles away from the island. In the process, he had already discovered several groups of people from the Blood Fiends. But every time, before the other party discovered him, he used the convenience of the sea serpent's eye to successfully avoid them. Finally, he snuck onto land. Once he was on land, Night Sorrow immediately took out the map of the palace that he had obtained from Sule and started to study it. He guessed where the Blood Fiends would place the Blood Fiend altar. After carefully studying the map, he determined that the Blood Fiends would place the altar in a secret room directly below the palace. The design of this secret room was very ingenious. It was easy to defend and hard to attack. It was basically impossible to sneak in. He could only force his way in. If the Blood Fiends placed the altar inside, it would be very advantageous for their defense. Night Sorrow, be careful, there's a situation ahead. Just as Night Sorrow was pondering, Xiaowu suddenly reminded him. What's wrong? After being reminded, Night Sorrow immediately became alert and looked into the distance. He was instantly shocked. It turned out that a large group of people from the Blood Fiends had appeared in the void not far ahead. At a glance, there were about 200 people. These people were all heavenly sovereigns. At this time, they were flying towards the island under the lead of a half-step to Supreme Realm expert. After discovering them, Night Sorrow immediately cast a secret rune on himself. But even so, he was still discovered by the leader of the Blood Fiends, Old Demon Blood Fiend. He saw that there were practitioners in the void far away. Old Demon Blood Fiend immediately frowned and looked to his left and right. He ordered, "Go and take down that practitioner in the distance." Huh, there's someone there? The two upper heavenly sovereigns standing beside Old Demon Blood Fiend were stunned when they heard this. Forget it. I'll go personally. He realized that even though he had pointed out the direction, the two of them still had not discovered Night Sorrow. After Old Demon Blood Fiend said this, he chased after Yishang. This old fellow has such a strong aura. He shouldn't be easy to deal with. Moreover, there are so many heavenly sovereigns behind him. Let's escape, shall we? Xiaowu immediately reminded Old Demon Blood Fiend when he saw him chasing after them. Okay, let's go. As Night Sorrow replied, he activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the destruction super ability. Then he used the 9 heaven-defying steps and fled into the distance. Ha! What a fast speed! Old Demon Blood Fiend exclaimed when he saw how fast Night Sorrow was. Then he sped up and chased after him. Old fellow, you're so fast. Let's speed up. Xiaowu immediately reminded Old Demon Blood Fiend when he sped up and closed the distance between them. Chapter 3299. Old Demon Blood Demon's speed is indeed terrifying. Looks like I have to ignite the power of my bloodline. Night Sorrow didn't even need to look back to sense Old Demon Blood Demon's aura. Without hesitation, he ignited his Phoenix bloodline and increased his speed again, increasing the distance between them. You Ant, you're really fast. Seeing that Night Sorrow could increase his speed again, Old Demon Blood Demon's face darkened. Then he took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Nourished by the aura of the jade talisman, his speed also increased again. He caught up again. Oh no! That old guy caught up again. His speed is really extraordinary. Little Five said unhappily when she saw Old Demon Blood Demon catch up again. Normally, a normal half-step to the Supreme Realm Cultivator wouldn't be able to catch up to Night Sorrow after he used his full speed. However, not only could Old Demon Blood Demon catch up, but he also looked like he was doing it with ease. He probably had other methods to increase his speed that he hadn't used yet. Having guessed this, Night Sorrow had no choice but to activate the Green Phoenix armor, which had been upgraded to the half-step paramount grade. Using the battle armor to support him, he increased his speed once again. When he first arrived at the eternal ancient desolate world, he and Sule had encountered dozens of heavenly sovereigns and hadn't been able to activate it. However, under the pressure of Old Demon Blood Demon, he had no choice but to activate it. He increased the distance between them again. Half-step to the Supreme Realm battle armor? Good stuff. Seeing that Night Sorrow had activated the Green Phoenix battle armor, Old Demon Blood Demon's eyebrows were filled with greed. Without hesitation, he ignited his bloodline and summoned the power of the altar, increasing his speed to be slightly faster than Night Sorrow's. Once again, the distance between them was shortened. How troublesome. This old demon blood demon's speed is so fast. His battle power is probably very strong. Senior Longevity and the others might not be able to fight against him, especially with the support of the altar. Looks like I have to destroy this altar as soon as possible. Night Sorrow, who was being chased by old demon blood demon, couldn't help but think to himself, we still have to increase our speed. The old guy is interested in your battle armor. Within the Eternal Divine Tower, Little Five, who had been paying attention to old demon blood demon, reminded him once more. I know I'm thinking of a way. Night Sorrow could sense that old demon blood fiend's aura was getting closer and closer. At this moment, he suddenly utilized virtue energy, and his speed increased a little more under the boost of virtue energy. However, as the quality of the power of virtue was too low, it did not increase by much. It did not pull the distance between the two sides apart again. At this time, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Xiaowu. This blood fiend is too difficult to deal with. Use the Eternal Divine Tower's power to attack him and slow him down. Good. However, I estimate that this attack will only be able to slow down its speed, and won't cause much damage to it. Little Five immediately replied. It's already good enough to slow him down. Night Sorrow said helplessly as he continued to execute the 9 defying steps. This old demon blood fiend's speed had completely surpassed his imagination. It gave him a tremendous pressure. Hearing this, Little Five immediately controls the Eternal Divine Tower, and blasts an attack at old demon blood fiend. Another half-step Supreme State Divine Artifact. You really are a boy with many treasures. Facing the attack from the Eternal Divine Tower, old demon blood fiend's speed was greatly affected in order to dodge it. For a moment, he pulled far away from Night Sorrow. At this time he did not get angry but laughed instead. He was prepared to catch up with Night Sorrow, and take all the good things on him for himself. However, at this time one of his subordinates suddenly transmitted his voice over. Patriarch, if you continue to chase, it will affect the overall situation of attacking them. This is a loss for the greater good. What you said makes sense. I can sense that this kid still has treasures on him. I really can't catch up to him for a while. Hearing this, old demon blood fiend immediately stopped. He said somewhat unwillingly, this time I'll let you off easy. Then he returned to the team and transmitted his voice to one of his subordinates. Shuehong, bring 10 people back to the palace and remind second brother to tighten the defenses. I think this kid's target is very likely the blood fiend altar. Yes, Patriarch. The cultivator called Shuehong immediately brought 10 heavenly sovereigns, and flew in the direction of the palace. Night Sorrow, who realized that old demon blood fiend had given up on chasing him, had a grave expression. According to his experience and judgment, the blood fiend organization, which had turned out in full force, was obviously stronger than the cultivators of the two realms. It would not be easy for them to defend the island. He could not help but transmit his voice. Do you think I should return to the foggy area and look for help? Or continue to destroy the altar? I think you'll waste too much time returning to Lu Tian Academy. You won't be able to get help in time. Moreover, most of the people you can invite are from the foggy area. It will take time to purify all of them. By the time you bring people back, the battle will have already ended. So for now, the most important thing is to destroy the blood fiend altar. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Little Seven helped to analyze. Your analysis makes sense. As the saying goes, only speed is invincible in the world of martial arts. If I can destroy the blood fiend altar before they attack, old demon blood fiend might give up on this attack. At that time, I can go back to the foggy area and bring more people over. I'll kill them all. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow still felt that he should continue to destroy the altar. Coincidentally, he had some speed boost and was flying towards the palace at top speed. After 5 days of flying without rest, Night Sorrow finally arrived at the periphery of the palace occupied by the Blood Fiend organization. In front of him, the entire palace was enveloped by an array. It looked like it was hidden in fog. Night Sorrow checked and realized that he could not see anything clearly. He immediately activated the sea serpent's eye and observed. Looking at it, he was so angry that his guts were rising. The people of the Blood Fiend organization had actually hung the corpses of cultivators from the eternal ancient desolate world outside the walls of the palace. These corpses had all lost their blood. They all looked like dried corpses, each more ferocious than the last. Knight Sorrow thought to himself, among these people, there's probably Su Lei's family. When this is over, I'll help bury them. He did not want to waste any time and summoned the restriction-breaking hammers. He said, think of a way to break a corner of the array outside the palace. We need to sneak in. The array in front of us should be set up by that old demon Blood Fiend. If he was here, it would be difficult to not alert the enemy. But he has already gone to the island. It shouldn't be difficult to break it without anyone knowing. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammers said and started to break the array with the female hammer. While Yi Shan remained vigilant, he calmly waited for the results. Chapter 3300. How is it? Is this formation very hard to break? I found a group of patrolling soldiers. After waiting for about an hour, the restriction-breaking hammer still didn't succeed. Knight Sorrow couldn't help but ask when he found a group of patrolling soldiers from the Blood Evil organization in the distance. According to his judgment, these patrolling soldiers would find him and the restriction-breaking hammer in about 20 breaths. If they couldn't break the formation in 20 breaths, it would be best to retreat and wait for the patrolling soldiers to leave before trying to break the formation again. Soon, we can break the formation at any time. Don't be anxious. If we give up now, we will have to break the formation again later. It will be very troublesome. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer replied as he quickly broke the formation with the female hammer. They will find us in a dozen breaths. Knight Sorrow observed again and confirmed that this group of patrolling soldiers was coming over. He reminded them again. We should be able to break the formation here before they arrive. The formation is invisible. After we break it, we will quickly find a place to hide. These patrolling soldiers won't find us at all. The male hammer looked in the direction Knight Sorrow pointed, and found that he couldn't see them with his ability. He immediately realized that the patrolling soldiers couldn't see them either. It was just that Knight Sorrow's eye technique was so powerful that he could find the patrolling soldiers. 10 breaths. Knight Sorrow, who was observing this group of patrolling soldiers, reminded them again after a few breaths. Soon, we will be able to break it in less than 5 breaths. Xiong Chue quickly replied. As soon as he finished speaking, the formation in front of them was successfully broken in less than 3 breaths. The male hammer immediately reminded them, let's go. Let's go in. Enter my space grotto heaven. Knight Sorrow, who was already looking at the route, said and put the restriction-breaking hammer and the eternal divine tower into his space grotto heaven. Then he quickly covered himself with a layer of secret runes and sneaked into the palace. Because his location would soon be exposed to the patrolling soldiers, he directly used the 33 Heavens Combat Mystic and Destruction Theurgy. He used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heaven and quickly flew in another direction. At this moment, the Imperial Palace was shrouded in a dense mist. It looked very ethereal. Knight Sorrow approached the entrance of the secret chamber according to the location marked on the map. Once he found the place, he would charge in and destroy the Blood Fiend altar. According to his judgment, this was the safest place for the Blood Fiend altar. As long as the people from the Blood Evil organization weren't stupid, they would have placed it below the palace. There's a cultivator's aura. Just as Knight Sorrow dodged the patrolling soldiers and headed towards the secret room, a voice suddenly rang out. The captain of the patrol team suddenly frowned and said, "Really? Who would have the guts to sneak into our place to court death?" A cultivator beside him said in disbelief. At this moment, the patrol team's captain, Xueshi, sniffed carefully and said, "There's someone. Someone must have snuck in. I can still smell his scent." After saying that, he returned to his original form from his human form. It turned out that he was a 3-headed silver wolf. After transforming, he used his 3 heads to sniff around. He said, "Follow me. If we catch the intruder, it'll definitely be a great merit. We can't let the other teams take the lead." Captain, your nose is really unparalleled in the world. We didn't notice anything at all. One of the members of the team said fawningly. However, these people really admired the three-headed silver wolf in front of them. He could even detect a scent that ordinary people couldn't detect at all. Therefore, when Night Sorrow snuck in, they quickly followed. Could it be that I've been discovered? After walking for a short while, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. He discovered that the team behind him had been following the path he had taken. If it wasn't for his fast speed, he would have been caught up. He immediately understood that he had left some loophole that they had noticed. This team seems to be greedy for merit. They want to rely on the strength of a team to capture me, and then exchange for rewards. This is a good opportunity for me. After thinking for a moment, he set up a 5-bull formation, and an illusion formation on the path he had taken. Then, in the illusion formation, he waited for the team that was following him to fall into the trap. About 30 breaths later, under the leadership of the three-headed silver wolf, the team rushed directly into the formation where Night Sorrow was hiding. Seeing that Night Sorrow only had the strength of a lower heavenly sovereign, the three-headed silver wolf immediately sniffed with his 3 noses and said, "There's no mistake. The scent is coming from this person in front of us. He is only a lower heavenly sovereign. We don't need to report to capture him, and we can capture him. Your nose is really good." Night Sorrow looked at the three-headed silver wolf and sneered. He wasn't being sarcastic. He really thought that the three-headed silver wolf's nose was amazing. This was because ordinary heavenly sovereigns couldn't use their noses to detect him sneaking in. Your skill in breaking the formation is also not bad. You can actually sneak in here without anyone noticing. However, it's a pity that you met me. Brothers, the opportunity to make a contribution has come. Take him down and hand him over to the second leader. We will definitely be rewarded handsomely. After the three-headed silver wolf confirmed that Night Sorrow was the person he was looking for, he transformed back into his human form and commanded the few cultivators to take action. Do you think it's a good thing that you found me? Well, you can finally break away from this bloodthirsty organization in front of you. Night Sorrow glanced at the three-headed silver wolf and said coldly, "It's best to capture him alive." The three-headed silver wolf, who was staring at Night Sorrow, ordered coldly. The few cultivators in front of him were not only heavenly sovereigns, but they were also middle heavenly sovereigns. He was an upper heavenly sovereign. He felt that capturing a lower heavenly sovereign was a piece of cake. If you surrender, you will suffer a lot less torture. You can't imagine the torture methods that we, the Blood Evil Organization, use. One of the cultivators immediately threatened when he saw that Night Sorrow had released his divine territory and was ready to fight. As for the others, they all launched attacks at Ye Sorrow. I'm different from you. Although you have done a lot of evil, I have no interest in torturing people. The few of you will be killed in an instant. Night Sorrow directly took out his golden heavenly halberd and used the mysterious azure divine spear art. The golden heavenly halberd was already a half-step to the supreme divine artifact. It was not something that these people could withstand. He quickly killed all the subordinates of the three-headed silver wolf with a spear strike. Seeing this scene, the three-headed silver wolf immediately crushed a bracelet on his arm. Seeing the three-headed silver wolf's performance, Night Sorrow said, "I have already set up a formation around you. It's too late for you to inform others. If you want to live, I'll give you a chance." Chapter 3301. Give me a chance. Do you think you have victory in your hands? Let me tell you, in this place, even a stronger upper heavenly sovereign is no match for me, let alone you. The three-eyed silver wolf said maliciously. Then it transformed back into its wolf form and roared fiercely. Since you are so confident, then let's fight. Let's see who is the one with blind confidence. Night Sorrow looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and said disdainfully, now he could even fight against a weaker half-step to Supreme Realm. Even if the three-eyed silver wolf was supported by the altar, it should not be strong enough to fight against a half-step to Supreme Realm expert. Therefore, the outcome of the battle was already decided. Humph. You are a lower heavenly sovereign. Although your talent is not bad, you are too blindly confident. You are courting death by coming here. Your half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon is mine. After roaring the last few words, the three-eyed silver wolf's hair all stood on end. It shot towards Night Sorrow rapidly. The three-eyed silver wolf could shoot out tens of thousands of hairs. After shooting out, countless shadows appeared in the void. It seemed that a large area in the void was occupied by the hairs. There was nowhere to hide. You do have a certain level of strength, but it is not enough. Night Sorrow immediately activated the sea serpent's eye to observe the hairs that were hiding. He filtered out all the fake hairs. Then he used the golden heavenly halberd, which had been upgraded to a half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon, to shoot out the fiery demon spear. This time, the fiery demon spear had the support of the fiery phoenix gold. Its power was much stronger than before. When it was used, it immediately burned all the hairs that flew out of the three-eyed silver wolf. Damn it! You deserve to die. After the hairs flew out, they were burned directly. There was no chance to summon them back. The three-eyed silver wolf was furious. The corners of its mouth started to tremble as it chanted a complicated spell. After a while, all the hairs on its body turned blood red. It looked extremely ferocious. You have the support of the altar, right? Let's see what is so special about the altar. Seeing the three-eyed silver wolf turn blood red, Night Sorrow did not immediately attack. Instead, he left an opportunity for him to attack. While Night Sorrow waited, the three-eyed silver wolf had completely transformed into a three-eyed blood wolf. Not only had his entire body turned blood red, but blood was also dripping from his body non-stop. He looked incomparably evil. Why aren't you making a move? Are you waiting for death? After receiving the altar's support, the three-eyed silver wolf roared and pounced at Night Sorrow. His speed was 2 to 3 times faster than before. In terms of strength, it had even increased by 5 to 6 times. Night Sorrow, who took the attack head-on, wasn't injured, but he was secretly surprised. He thought to himself, if that old demon blood fiend gets the support of the altar and his strength increases by 4 to 5 times, even if Senior Longevity and the Coiling Dragon Spear work together, they might not be his match. It seems that I have to destroy the altar as soon as possible. At this time, Night Sorrow didn't know whether the battle on the island had started or not. He was very worried about the situation there. Since he knew that the altar was not ordinary, he was prepared to no longer test the three-eyed silver wolf. He immediately used Extreme Flame Phantom. Without giving the three-eyed silver wolf a chance to counterattack, he immediately crippled it. What? This is impossible. It was crippled by Night Sorrow's Extreme Flame Phantom. The three-eyed silver wolf, who only had 1 breath left, roared in disbelief. Now I will give you another chance to choose. Submit or die. Night Sorrow looked at the dying three-eyed silver wolf and said. At this time, he had already completely crippled it. This three-eyed silver wolf did not have the ability to self-destruct. He was not worried that the three-eyed silver wolf would kill itself. You want me to betray Blood Fiend Ancestor? That's impossible. Just kill me. Under such circumstances, the three-eyed silver wolf still had no intention of submitting. It struggled, wanting to kill itself, but it couldn't. Let me see if you have a backbone, or if the Blood Fiend Ancestor has better methods. After the three-eyed silver wolf rejected him, Night Sorrow guessed that the Blood Fiend organization had the ability to control minds. He immediately used the power of merit on it, purifying all the Blood Fiend chi in its body. Then he looked at the three-eyed silver wolf again, and found that it had curled up into a ball due to its weakness. It even looked a little pitiful. At this time Night Sorrow asked again. Now tell me, do you choose to submit or die and sacrifice yourself to the Blood Fiend Ancestor? I was defeated by the Blood Fiend organization, and then they used a secret technique to brainwash me. It was you who purified me. I choose to submit to you. Our entire clan was wiped out by them. I want revenge. The three-eyed silver wolf recovered from its daze and said weakly. Back then it was also one of the top existences in the eternal ancient desolate world. Later, it was defeated by the Blood Fiend organization. Like a few other cultivators, it was compatible with the Blood Fiend organization's secret technique, and finally became a member of the organization. Good. I will let you recover quickly. Enter my Eternal Divine Tower. Night Sorrow said and summoned the Eternal Divine Tower. Seeing that the three-eyed silver wolf did not have the ability to enter by itself, he released a stream of divine essence and sent it into the eternal divine tower. Then he asked Xiaowu to give it an elixir. Night Sorrow entered an empty room and set up a concealment array, waiting for the three-eyed silver wolf to recover. After about 30 breaths, the three-eyed silver wolf recovered a little and said, "Master, why did you sneak in here?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately replied, "I represent the eternal supreme world and the eternal ancient desolate world, to destroy the Blood Fiend altar. My goal is naturally to reduce the strength of the Blood Fiend organization." "What? Destroy the Blood Fiend altar? I'm afraid that with Master's ability, you can't do it." Hearing this, the three-eyed silver wolf replied pessimistically, "Oh, how difficult would it be to destroy the Blood Fiend altar? Tell me about it." Night Sorrow looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and asked, "First of all, this Blood Fiend altar is located in a secret chamber below the palace. If you want to enter, you can only kill your way in from the front. Secondly, this Blood Fiend altar is guarded by more than 30 members of the Blood Fiend organization. Also, not counting them, there are 70 to 80 cultivators patrolling the palace. If you fight, you will encounter the attacks of hundreds of heavenly sovereigns. How can you win?" Speaking up to this point, the three-eyed silver wolf added, "In addition, the person in charge of guarding the Blood Fiend organization is the second leader of the organization. He has just advanced to half-step to Extreme Realm recently, and his strength is frighteningly strong. Think about it. How difficult is it to destroy this Blood Fiend altar?" "What? Not only is there a half-step to Extreme Realm expert, there are also hundreds of heavenly sovereigns?" Hearing this, no matter how confident Night Sorrow was in his own strength, he could not help but gasp. He did not expect that after the Blood Fiend organization attacked the island and took away so many heavenly sovereigns, there were still so many left in their nest. Chapter 3302. Yes. Hundreds of heavenly sovereigns are like a heavenly moat in front of us. The three-eyed silver wolf sighed and said, "And this is because the blood demon Old Demon is extremely evil. He threw all the cultivators below the heavenly sovereign level into the blood pool, and used their flesh and blood to nourish the blood demon altar. Otherwise, there would be tens of thousands of earthly sovereigns and supremes here. Then there would be guards every 10 steps and sentries every 100 steps. I was wondering why there were no earthly sovereigns in the team led by the blood demon Old Demon and the palace. So they were all taken care of by the blood demon Old Demon. This old devil is truly evil to the extreme." When Night Sorrow heard that the blood demon Old Demon had thrown tens of thousands of earthly sovereigns and supremes into the blood pool, he was even more furious. After thinking for a while, he said, "How many of the cultivators in the palace are like you, from the eternal ancient desolate world?" "I'm not too sure about that. But according to my estimation, other than the 30 inside who are the Blood Demon organization's henchmen, the patrol team outside shouldn't be." The three-eyed silver wolf thought for a while and said, "Then it's easy. We'll take them down one by one, and I'll think of a way to purify them all. Then we'll attack the altar below together." Night Sorrow said and continued, "Tell me the patrolling patterns of the patrol teams. We'll plan and save all the suitable people. If we can do that, our success rate will increase to 50%. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the three-eyed silver wolf thought about its own situation and felt that it was reliable. It immediately explained the distribution of the patrol teams to Night Sorrow. It turned out that although there were more than 10 patrol teams in the palace, they were all quite far away from each other. If Night Sorrow could find a chance to set up a trap array, with his strength, it wouldn't be too difficult to break through the teams one by one. After the three-eyed silver wolf finished, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "We should thank Sule for building the palace so majestic and making the patrol teams so far apart." Yes. In the end, the blood demon Old Demon was still one step behind. He didn't expect Master's shocking ability. Sensing Night Sorrow's confidence, the three-eyed silver wolf said flatteringly, "If the people he left behind are all mentally loyal to the bloody evil organization, it'll be really difficult for us." Night Sorrow said and followed the three-eyed silver wolf's instructions to set up a trapping array. Not long after, A six-man patrol team crashed into the trapping array. The female cultivator leading the group, Qing Yun, saw Night Sorrow and immediately scolded. How dare you break into the forbidden area of the Blood Fiend organization? You are courting death. I'm saving you. Night Sorrow glanced at the six people in front of him and felt that their auras were similar to the three-eyed silver wolf. He was immediately sure that they had all been brainwashed by the Blood Evil organization. As soon as he finished speaking, he activated the Treastrimsa Heaven's Battle Secret Technique and Destruction Divine ability. He used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to execute the Azure Profound Divine Spear art. In just a few moments, the six people in front of him were completely suppressed. When these people summoned the power of blood and evil at the same time, and received the support of the altar, he immediately used the power of virtue to purify all of them. After being purified by the power of virtue one after another, Qing Yun and the rest's gaze immediately became erratic, and became somewhat at a loss. It was similar to the three-eyed silver wolf that had just recovered. After recovering for a while, Qing Yun looked at Night Sorrow with a puzzled gaze and said, "It was you who saved us from the hands of the Blood Fiend organization?" "Yes. Next, I need you to properly recover and then destroy the Blood Fiend altar with me." Night Sorrow looked at Qing Yun and the rest, and said word by word. "But the altar below is heavily guarded, and there is also a half-step extreme realm expert, Shui Yan, overseeing it. With our strength, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to destroy the Blood Fiend altar." After recovering for a moment, Qing Yun immediately understood the situation in front of her. She slowly said, "At this moment, the three-eyed silver wolf walked out of the Eternal Divine Tower and said, 'At the beginning, I also thought so. But Master has the ability to purify and save all the patrolling teams outside. With everyone's help, there is still hope to destroy the altar.' Three-eyed silver wolf, what you said makes sense, but can this plan be carried out smoothly?" Hearing the three-eyed silver wolf's words, Qing Yun immediately said doubtfully, "Aren't you guys an example? If there are no accidents, the other teams should also be purified quickly. At that time, we will kill all those who are loyal to the Blood Fiend organization. The rest will attack the Blood Fiend altar together." The three-eyed silver wolf continued, That will work. This Blood Fiend old demon and the Blood Fiend organization destroyed my eternal ancient desolate world and used cruel methods to kill so many people. They should receive the punishment they deserve. How do you need me to cooperate? As long as I can do it, Qing Yun will not refuse." Qing Yun thought for a moment and said firmly. The 5 cultivators behind her said the same thing. "Very good. You guys follow me and attack the next team." There was no time to lose. Seeing that Qing Yun was cooperating, Night Sorrow said and led them to the next target location. However, they had not reached the location yet. The three-eyed silver wolf suddenly said, "No, someone is coming." "Someone is coming? Is it the patrolling team?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and asked, "No. It's the smell coming from outside the palace. The person who came seems to be Blood Fiend Old Demon's right-hand man, Shuehong." The three-eyed silver wolf sniffed carefully and judged. Blood Fiend Old Demon's right-hand man. Not good, he should be back to report. I met the old demon on the way. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow immediately analyzed what was going on. He looked at everyone and said, "Follow me and leave the palace to stop Shuehong and the others." "Okay. However, if we don't want to be exposed, we might need to set up a formation on their route in advance," the three-eyed silver wolf reminded. "Of course. You all know the situation of the Blood Fiend organization. Tell me, which path will Shuehong take when he returns?" Night Sorrow looked in the direction the three-eyed silver wolf pointed at, but did not see anything. It was obvious that the three-eyed silver wolf's sense of smell was heaven-defying. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Qing Yun judged, if Shuehong gets close to the palace, he will definitely gather all the patrolling teams together. If the patrolling teams are gathered together, it will be difficult to deal with them. We need to stop them outside the palace. So, let's set up a formation outside the palace. Okay. You all choose a location, and I will set up the formation immediately," Night Sorrow said and led everyone out of the palace to stop them outside the palace. Moreover, at the location designated by the three-eyed silver wolf, they set up the five-bull formation, illusion formation and trap formation. Xuehong was Bloodfiend Old Demon's right-hand man. Night Sorrow wanted to capture him alive and use his identity to directly enter the secret chamber. Therefore, they were fully prepared. Chapter 3303. By the time Night Sorrow had finished setting up the array, Xuehong and the rest had not arrived yet. The three-eyed silver wolf realized that there was still time and asked, "Master, are you prepared to capture Xuehong alive and force him to open the path to the altar?" "Yes, I do have such an idea, but I don't know if it's easy to achieve." As Night Sorrow spoke, he looked into the distance with the sea serpent's eye. He could vaguely see the figures of Xuehong and the rest. There were 11 of them, all of whom were upper heavenly sovereigns, and they were heading towards the palace. "Master, I feel that this idea of yours should be very difficult to realize. The members of the Blood Evil organization are 100% loyal to the organization. Even if you threaten him with death, Xuehong will never bring us in." After Night Sorrow spoke, the three-eyed silver wolf made his judgment. Hearing their words, Qingyan also said, "Yes. Some of the followers of the Blood Evil organization would rather self-destruct than betray the organization. It's impossible to use Xuehong to enter the secret room. I've thought about what you said. I'm thinking that if we capture him alive, Xuehong will not agree to bring us in. Then we can read his memory and turn him into a puppet. We can use the puppet to deceive the second leader of the Blood Evil organization." After hearing what the three-eyed silver wolf and Qingyan said, Night Sorrow immediately explained, "I see. That's a feasible idea. But I'm not sure if reading Xuehong's memory will cause him to self-destruct," the three-eyed silver wolf said worriedly. At that moment, Xuehong and the rest were approaching. Night Sorrow did not reply, but said, "They are here. Prepare for battle." "Yes." The three-eyed silver wolf and Qingyan replied immediately. Then they concealed their auras and hid in the array so that they would not be exposed. "Don't worry. If we don't check the array carefully, we won't be discovered. The array inscriptions are hidden." When Night Sorrow saw that everyone was being careful, he reminded them. Of course, his array was meant for ordinary people. If it was a super powerhouse who was half a step to the Supreme Realm, they would be able to detect it easily. As for Xuehong and the others, they had not expected Night Sorrow to arrive at the Imperial Palace ahead of time and set up the spell formation. In a moment of carelessness, all of them had entered the formation. After the array formation was activated, Xuehong's expression changed drastically when he saw Night Sorrow. "It's you. Just like what the Patriarch said, you are indeed plotting something against the palace." "Plot? What I'm plotting is to exterminate the Blood Evil organization directly. Kill him." Night Sorrow observed with the sea serpent's eye and confirmed that Xuehong and the others were stronger than the three-eyed silver wolf and the others. However, they did not have the absolute advantage, so they directly gave the order. "You are courting death. How dare you be so arrogant in the territory of the Blood Evil organization? Let's see how you're going to deal with this." Seeing that Night Sorrow did not waste any more words and had directly entered combat mode, Xuehong immediately summoned the power of the altar. After the power of the sacrificial altar attached to his body, Xuehong's 7 orifices started to bleed ferociously. He raised his hand and wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth. With a sinister smile, he said, "All of you die. Do you think that you are invincible after summoning the power of the sacrificial altar?" Looking at Xuehong, Night Sorrow realized that Xuehong was almost at the level of half-step to Supreme Realm. But he did not panic at all. After berating him, he directly activated the 5 bulls formation. After the 5 bulls roared, the members of the Blood Evil organization, who were already bleeding from their 7 orifices, started to bleed in many places. They looked extremely ferocious. Among them, Xuehong's skin was split open and countless bloody scars appeared. What kind of spell is this? At this moment, Xuehong finally understood how powerful the spell formation in front of him was. With a loud roar, he took out a long black spear and stabbed it at Night Sorrow. He wanted to rely on the strength of half-step to Supreme Realm to kill Night Sorrow directly. He knew that as long as he killed Night Sorrow, the rest of the people present would definitely collapse without a fight. How dare you attack with your spear in front of me? Seeing Xue Hong's spear coming at him, Knight Sorrow roared. He took out his golden heavenly halberd and clashed with it. Knight Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd was a half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon. Xue Hong's divine weapon was at the level of a heavenly supreme. When the two of them clashed, the result was obvious. Xue Hong's divine weapon was broken by Knight Sorrow. What? A half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon is so powerful? When old Demon Blood Evil was chasing Knight Sorrow, Xue Hong had already heard him mention that Knight Sorrow had a half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon. However, he was not alarmed. At this moment, when the divine weapon in his hand was broken, he finally understood how big the difference between the two of them was. This is not considered powerful. While Xue Hong was stunned, Knight Sorrow used his golden heavenly halberd to perform the mysterious Azure Godly Spear technique. He fought with Xue Hong. Although Xue Hong was supported by the altar, he was still in the five-bull formation. After fighting with Knight Sorrow for a while, he realized that he was definitely not a match for Knight Sorrow. The thought of escaping rose in his mind. According to his plan, as long as he rushed out of the trap formation in front of him and summoned the patrol team, defeating Knight Sorrow and the rest would be a piece of cake. However, Xue Hong quickly realized that it was almost impossible to escape from the formation in front of him. This was because they realized that the formation in front of them was a chain formation. Not only did it include the five-bull formation, there was also a trap formation and an illusion formation. They could not break it at all. At this moment, the three-eyed silver wolf, Qing Yun and the rest were fighting with some of Xue Hong's subordinates. The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun were relatively weaker. Hence, they did not perform well, and were at a disadvantage. Seeing this situation, Knight Sorrow kept helping the three-eyed silver wolf and the rest while suppressing Xue Hong. With his help, they quickly killed all of Xue Hong's subordinates. When Xue Hong was the only one left, Knight Sorrow looked at him and said, "If you cooperate with me and enter the secret room where the altar is, I will spare your life. I will spare your life. Otherwise, you will be killed on the spot." Humph. The members of the Blood Evil organization are not cowards. We will not be like these guys who chose to surrender in a moment. Just kill me. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Xue Hong immediately said with disdain, "Since you have made such a choice, don't blame me for being ruthless." Knight Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe Xue Hong. Then he activated the Treastrimsa Battle Secret Technique and the Destruction Divine ability. He used the Extreme Flame Phantom on him. As soon as the Extreme Flame Phantom was used, Xue Hong was immediately sent flying. When Xue Hong was sent flying, Knight Sorrow immediately used the 9 heaven-defying steps to get close to him. Then, he stabbed his spear towards his Dantian. He was going to cripple Xue Hong first. Ghost Face Heart Protecting Mirror. At this moment, Xue Hong saw that he could not defend against Knight Sorrow's attack and immediately roared. Then, a bright and clean bronze mirror appeared in front of Xue Hong's chest. www. Chapter 3304. Boom. After Knight Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd hit Xue Hong's chest, there was a loud explosion. The ripples from the explosion destroyed Xue Hong and destroyed the array that Knight Sorrow had set up. Not good. Xue Hong wants to use this trick to alert all the patrol squads. After the array was destroyed, Knight Sorrow immediately understood Xue Hong's intentions. However, things had already happened and he could not undo it. He immediately set up a new array. He was ready for a new battle. The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yin were shocked. After thinking for a while, the three-eyed silver wolf said, "Master, the situation is not good. Why don't we retreat first and plan again later? If we face the attack of a large number of patrol teams, I'm afraid we won't be able to withstand it. Now Blood Demon Old Demon and the Baleful Blood organization should be fighting with the two worlds' allied army, and Blood Demon Old Demon's side has an obvious advantage. We have to destroy the altar as soon as possible. There is no time to waste. As for the patrol teams in front of us, they should be coming in waves. I don't care about them." After explaining, Knight Sorrow held the golden heavenly halberd and stood outside the palace to welcome the arrival of the battle. The truth was just as he said. Blood Demon Old Demon had already begun to attack the island's defensive array. When the array was destroyed, the people from the Eternal Supreme World and Eternal Ancient Desolate World could only fight to the death. If Blood Demon Old Demon rushed into the living area, Jingyun, Wu Lingfei and the rest would definitely be in a life-and-death situation. This was something that Night Sorrow did not want to see happen. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the three-eyed silver wolf sniffed and said, "The first batch of people that came was indeed a small team. After that, 2 more teams came together. As for the rest of the teams, they should be arriving at about the same time. According to this frequency, it shouldn't be a big threat." After saying that, Night Sorrow stood in the array and continued to wait for the patrol teams to arrive. Not long after, the first 6-man team descended from the sky. The team leader looked at Night Sorrow and said, "No matter why he is here, kill him." Yes. The few cultivators in the team responded, and all of them attacked Night Sorrow. At this moment, the three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun wanted to attack. However, Night Sorrow stopped them and said, "Stay in the concealment formation, don't move. I can get rid of a small team in no time." After saying that, he activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique and destruction divine ability. He brandished the golden heavenly halberd and unleashed extreme flame phantom. After Night Sorrow used his strongest and fastest attack, the cultivators in front of him could not block it at all. The few of them were quickly suppressed. After suppressing the 6 of them, Night Sorrow immediately used his virtue power to purify them. After purifying the 6 of them, Night Sorrow left them to the three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun. "I'll leave the rest to you. Those who don't leave the Blood Evil organization will be killed directly." "Yes, Master." "Yes." The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun, who were still in shock, answered one after another. They were extremely fearful of the completely unleashed Night Sorrow. They felt that the current him was like a god of war that could kill anyone. "Go and do it," Night Sorrow said again, just in time to see 2 teams rushing over together. He soared into the air once again, and unleashed extreme flame phantom at them. This time, after all, the other party had 12 sky sovereigns. After Night Sorrow used this move, although 3 sky sovereigns were heavily injured, however, he who was focused on attacking and did not think of defending, was also hit several times. However, all of these were blocked by the activated Azure Phoenix battle armor. Such defensive power. I'm afraid he can already fight with Old Demon Blood Evil. Seeing that Night Sorrow was continuously attacked and did not suffer any injuries, Qing Yun was shocked again. She felt that whether it was in terms of attack or defense, Night Sorrow, he had already surpassed the realm of Sky Sovereign, and reached the level of half-step Extreme Realm. Among the lower heavenly sovereigns, this was probably the only one. The three-eyed silver wolf was also shocked, but he did not say anything. Instead, he immediately began to persuade the few people who had been purified to surrender. Soon, the few cultivators were persuaded by the three-eyed silver wolf. After all, they were all people whose clans had been wiped out by the Blood Evil organization. After the few of them joined, Night Sorrow's lineup immediately became more than 10. The three-eyed silver wolf immediately sent a voice transmission. "Master, we're already quite large. Let everyone fight together and share your burden? No need, my recovery ability is very fast. I'll fight them myself, and then quickly recover. This way, I can minimize the losses." After the three-eyed silver wolf's voice transmission, Night Sorrow immediately replied. After all, the Leakin bloodline in his body came from a supreme venerable, so his recovery ability was very strong. No matter how tragic the battle in front of him was, he could recover very quickly. Therefore, he wanted to leave the purified cultivators for the final battle to destroy the altar. He wanted to use the advantage of numbers to destroy the altar in one wave. Hearing this, the three-eyed silver wolf continued. "Then let's recover our strength and cheer for Master." "All right. Just watch," Night Sorrow said, and continued to fight with the patrol team that had rushed over. About an hour later, Night Sorrow successfully purified all the teams. Apart from the ones he had killed, there were more than 50 cultivators who had joined his team. While these cultivators were recovering, Night Sorrow asked. Who knows where the entrance to the secret chamber is? I don't know. We know that the altar is in the secret chamber below, but we don't know the location of the entrance at all. That's right. Blood Evil Old Demon, and the others don't let us come into contact with the real core. Every time we enter, we are brought in by Blood Evil Old Demon using the Space Grotto Heaven. Hearing this question, Qing Yun and the others replied helplessly. At this time, the three-eyed silver wolf smiled and said, Master, I can find the location of the entrance. Oh, really? Night Sorrow immediately asked in surprise. Of course it's true. I can smell the difference in the aura nearby. From this, I can determine the location of the entrance. The three-eyed silver wolf said proudly. Good. Then I'll have to trouble the others to enter the eternal divine tower to recover. Three-eyed silver wolf, bring me to find the entrance. After getting a positive answer, Night Sorrow immediately ordered. Then he let everyone enter the 10 times space of the eternal divine tower to recover. He followed behind the three-eyed silver wolf to find the entrance to the secret chamber. In fact, the entrance was marked on the map that Sule had given him. But this entrance had long been modified by the Blood Evil organization. This was something that Night Sorrow had guessed long ago. So, he didn't even look for the entrance on the map. www. Chapter 3305. The truth was exactly as Night Sorrow had predicted. The people of Bloodfiend had long changed the location of the secret chamber's entrance to another place. And they had set up several fake entrances. After checking 5 or 6 of them, Night Sorrow finally found the real secret chamber's entrance under the lead of the three-eyed silver wolf. Through the entrance they entered the secret chamber's passageway. In other words, the passageway to the small world. Because this was a small world, it was impossible to enter by digging from the side. After entering the long passageway, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately reminded, Master, I've heard that there are many mechanisms set up in this passageway. It's extremely difficult to pass through it. We have to be careful. You enter the eternal divine tower first. I'll go through this passageway myself. In addition, I'll remember today's merit. Night Sorrow said and opened the sea serpent's eye to carefully observe the path ahead. Soon he saw that there were many formation patterns in the passageway. Because he couldn't see what these formation patterns were for, Night Sorrow summoned the restriction-breaking hammer. He said, Take a look at the formation patterns in this passage. What's going on? Wait a moment, let's observe. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer said, and started to observe with the female hammer. On the other side, the Eternal Divine Tower also started to figure it out. But they couldn't see what was going on. The male hammer said helplessly, The formation patterns in front of us seem to be extraordinary. We can't see what's going on. Xiao guessed with uncertainty. I think it should be some offensive formation patterns. Or an illusion array. It's nothing more than these. Since you can't see it, let's barge in. Night Sorrow knew that the restriction-breaking hammer and the Eternal Divine Tower couldn't see what was going on. He directly held the golden heavenly halberd and attacked. At this moment, he was worried about his family and friends on the island, and didn't want to delay at all. He was more reckless than usual. After Night Sorrow activated the first batch of formation patterns. In the passageway, 10 extremely hideous-looking blood corpses were immediately summoned. In the Eternal Divine Tower, Qing Yun saw the 10 blood corpses and immediately warned, Be careful. These are cultivated by the Bloodfiend organization, using the blood pool. It only has the instinct to attack, but no real consciousness. Don't worry, I'll be fine against these things. However, by activating this rune, the person inside should have already alerted the enemy. A bitter battle is unavoidable. Night Sorrow said and charged towards the 10 blood corpses with the golden heavenly halberd in hand. Even after using the half-step paramount divine artifact, golden heavenly halberd, to stab at the blood corpses several times, it did not have much effect. He said in surprise, The defense of these blood corpses is really strong. As he spoke, Night Sorrow directly activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique, as well as his annihilation divine ability. He used the Qingxian godly spear technique on these blood corpses. Clang! 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 However, after a series of metallic sounds, Night Sorrow suddenly realized that these blood corpses had copper skin and iron bones. Even an attack of this level would not be able to harm him. At this moment, he had already been hit several times. He's really not easy to deal with. After being continuously pushed back by the blood corpses, Night Sorrow immediately thought of a countermeasure. After thinking for a while, his eyes suddenly lit up. He immediately summoned the Dragon of Virtue and let it wrap around the golden heavenly halberd. Once again, he used the Qingxian godly spear technique on the 10 blood corpses. This time, every time the golden heavenly halberd stabbed the blood corpses, there would be a burst of sizzling sounds. After being attacked, the blood corpses would be ignited by the power of virtue. Soon, the 10 blood corpses were burned by the power of virtue. In the tunnel, they gradually turned into dust. After killing the 10 heavenly sovereign level blood corpses, Night Sorrow's power of virtue also increased. Because his power of virtue's base level was very low, it increased very quickly. It directly advanced to the level of lower earthly sovereign. It could be said that he had caught up by a lot. When he realized that his power of virtue had increased by so much, Night Sorrow immediately said excitedly, "Very good. Before the final battle, increasing my power of virtue to the level of earthly sovereign will definitely play a very good role in the process of destroying the altar." Congratulations, Master. Your superpower has increased. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately congratulated him. Qing Yun and the rest were a little uncomfortable with the three-eyed silver wolf calling him master. This was because they all knew the three-eyed silver wolf and knew that he was once one of the giants of the eternal ancient desolate world. He was second only to the top figures like Su Lei. The three-eyed silver wolf naturally saw through Qing Yun and the rest's thoughts. In the eternal divine tower he smiled and said, "You don't understand." Qing Yun and the rest did not say anything. Instead, their gazes once again landed on Night Sorrow. At this moment, Night Sorrow, after burning the power of lower earthly sovereign's power of virtue, suddenly became incomparably sacred. Without hesitation, he took another step forward and continued to walk forward. Not long after, the second set of runes was activated. This time, they had entered an illusion, a blood-red small world. As soon as they entered, a gloomy blood rain fell in this small world. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye to observe for a while, but did not discover anything. Hence, he continued to walk forward in the blood rain. Not long after he walked, corpses made of blood continuously crawled out from the blood-red soil in front of him. These corpses made of blood were not the same as the blood corpses he had encountered earlier. In terms of aura, they were obviously stronger. In about 10 breaths' time, 33 blood corpses that looked exactly the same crawled out from the ground. As soon as they appeared, they roared and charged at Yi Sorrow. These corpses made of blood not only had stronger aura than the blood corpses outside, but their speed was also obviously much faster. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow was still activating the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the destruction super ability. Seeing that these corpses were extremely fast, he immediately used the golden heavenly halberd to display the extreme flame phantom. Using the speed, he quickly passed through the corpses. He consecutively pierced through more than 10 corpses. However, after these corpses were pierced through, they quickly gathered together and did not suffer any injuries at all. Not injured? Looks like I have to use the power of virtue again. Seeing the situation in front of him, Night Sorrow immediately activated the Dragon of Virtue. Once again, he let it wrap around the golden heavenly halberd and attacked the corpses in front of him again. However, this time, even if he used the power of virtue, his attack still could not harm these corpses made of blood. Night Sorrow immediately frowned and said, "Who knows what's going on? I feel that this is an illusion, so the things that appear should not be real. Since they are not real, they will not be injured." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Qing Yun immediately deduced. www. Chapter 3306. Yes. I think so too. The existence of this illusion array is very likely to make Master consume endless divine power. The three-eyed silver wolf said and continued to deduce. As for what will happen after that, I'm not sure. Hearing this, Night Sorrow thought and said, since we can't deduce what will happen after that, let's test it out. Then he continued to fight with the corpses made of blood in front of him. After fighting for about 100 breaths, he directly withdrew about 50% of the divine power around him, giving people the feeling that his divine power was running out. Realizing that the corpses in front of him did not change at all, he withdrew another 30% of his divine power. He only used 20% of his divine power, and only used speed to deal with these things. Then he withdrew his divine power to only 1%. At this moment, Night Sorrow realized that although these corpses made of blood looked very powerful, they gradually began to fade. After he completely hid his divine power, these corpses completely disappeared. What replaced them were 3 blood corpses that crawled out of the blood. These 3 blood corpses looked very ferocious. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to check, and found that these were real. He immediately understood that the things that this array had just summoned were only to consume his divine power, and these 3 blood corpses in front of him should be used to kill. Roar! After the 3 blood corpses appeared, they immediately roared into the sky. Then, they attacked Night Sorrow at the same time. What powerful strength! They are 5 to 6 times stronger than the 10 blood corpses that were killed. After the 3 blood corpses attacked, Night Sorrow immediately released his divine power again. Moreover, he raised his divine power to the strongest state, and activated the Green Phoenix battle armor. While fighting, he covered his body with flames. After these flames appeared, they directly dispersed the blood on his body. Seeing that Night Sorrow's aura had recovered, the 3 blood corpses that appeared immediately launched an even more ferocious attack than before. However, although the 3 blood corpses were very strong, they were only at the level of Upper Heavenly Supreme, and not half-step to the Supreme Realm. With Night Sorrow going all out, he quickly destroyed the 3 blood corpses. This time, he had killed the 3 blood corpses. Although he had received a bonus from the power of merit, his power of merit was still that of a lower earthly sovereign. Obviously, after his power of merit had advanced to the earthly sovereign level, the speed at which he killed heavenly sovereign level evil spirits had significantly decreased. Buzz. After the 3 blood corpses were killed, the illusory formation in front of him disappeared completely. Night Sorrow immediately came out of the small world. Once again he appeared in the tunnel. After standing firm, Night Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice. Three-eyed silver wolf, you've done a meritorious deed again. If it weren't for your accurate deduction, I don't know how long I would have to fight those illusory blood corpses. You don't have to be so polite, Master. I was just guessing and happened to stumble upon the truth. Hearing the praise, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately smiled and said, being able to deduce the truth by chance is also a kind of luck. At this point, I can't praise you verbally anymore. This is the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold, a supreme grade material. Keep it well. As he spoke, Night Sorrow took out 2 fist-sized pieces of Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold and handed them to the three-eyed silver wolf. Io. A supreme grade material. It's really a supreme grade material. After receiving the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately shouted excitedly. At this time, Night Sorrow continued. Although this Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold is a supreme grade material, it hasn't been purified, so it can only be refined into a half-step to supreme grade divine artifact. You can try to refine it. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Hearing this, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately refined the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold in the Eternal Divine Tower. Soon, it refined them into a pair of wolf claws. Although this pair of wolf claws looked a little small, they could be changed in size at will. After the three-eyed silver wolf put them on, it scratched its own defensive armor and immediately tore it apart. Amazing! A half-step to supreme grade divine artifact is indeed extraordinary. It hasn't even gone through the thunder calamity, and it already has such power. Thank you, Master. After the three-eyed silver wolf confirmed the power of this divine artifact, it immediately cried out with gratitude. You deserve this. You don't have to be emotional here. The three-eyed silver wolf was too emotional, so Night Sorrow said unhappily and continued to walk into the passage. Not long after, he entered another small world. This small world was similar to the small world that was raining blood. The only difference was that the blood corpses that appeared were all real. Yishan only managed to kill a few dozen blood corpses, after roughly an hour of fighting. After killing so many blood corpses, his power of merit suddenly advanced to the level of a middle earthly sovereign. The power of merit, I've held it in for too long. It suddenly advanced, and it continuously improved by so much. Good, very good. His power of merit had advanced again, and he had broken through another level. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. At this time, there were only a few runes left in front of him. He used the sea serpent's eye to observe for a while. After confirming that he still couldn't see anything, he prepared to continue stepping in. At this time, Qing Yun suddenly said, "Wait. I feel that there must be something wrong with this last level. Don't step in rashly." "Oh, what do you mean?" Night Sorrow stopped and asked doubtfully. Qing Yun continued, "According to my understanding of the Blood Evil organization, they are very vicious. Generally speaking, the difficulty of the last level would be much higher than all the previous levels combined." I've already thought of this." Night Sorrow responded and continued. "However, the level is right in front of us. If we don't activate it, what else can we do?" "Master, I just got a half step to Supreme Level Divine Artifact. Why don't you let me go in and help you explore?" At this time, the three-eyed silver wolf volunteered. Hearing this, Night Sorrow was a little touched. However, he immediately said seriously, "No need. I'll do it myself. There's no need for you to take this risk. I still have some tricks up my sleeve." After saying that, he activated all the information on his body. He took a few steps forward and completely activated the last runes. Who would have thought? After entering, he was suddenly teleported out of the palace. He appeared outside the palace. The last runes are actually teleportation runes. When he appeared outside the palace and saw the familiar scenery, Night Sorrow was immediately surprised. He used the sea serpent's eye to observe the surroundings. This is indeed outside the palace. Qing Yun observed for a while and said immediately. At this time, the three-eyed silver wolf said slowly, "No. Although this looks exactly the same as the palace, the smell is different. I can smell the difference." Chapter 3307. "Oh? If you've discovered anything different, just say it." Hearing the three-eyed silver wolf's words, Night Sorrow immediately asked, "Reporting to Master. You should still remember when I brought you guys to find the entrance, right? At that time, I relied on the difference in smell to find the entrance." The three-eyed silver wolf explained and then explained. "And here in front of us, there's no smell at all. Therefore, even if it looks exactly the same, it's definitely not the same region." "What you mean is that we weren't teleported out. Instead, we entered a new world?" Night Sorrow said with a frown. The environment here, even with the sea serpent's eye, he couldn't see any illusory existence. The feeling that it gave people should be real. "Yes. According to my judgment, this Blood Evil organization's altar should be hidden in a brand new world. It's not in the same space as the palace. Therefore, it's very difficult for the people from Blood Evil organization to enter." The three-eyed silver wolf said his judgment. He felt that the Blood Evil altar should be in an independent plane. As for how to enter, he couldn't guess at all. Hearing him say this, Qing Yun immediately agreed. "That's right. It's really possible. If it's really like this, it'll be even more difficult for us to find the altar. If your deduction is not wrong, then in the palace in front of us, it's very likely that we'll find a new secret chamber entrance. Or rather, an entrance to a new plane." Night Sorrow said and then ordered, "Let's go find a new entrance. Three-eyed silver wolf, this matter still depends on you." "All right. Master, let me out," the three-eyed silver wolf immediately said. He was still very obedient towards Night Sorrow's words. "Come out," Night Sorrow said and released the three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun. The others were still recovering in the Eternal Divine Tower. After leaving the Eternal Divine Tower, the three-eyed silver wolf sniffed carefully and said, "Although the smell here isn't heavy, I can still smell the smell of blood evil organization cultivators. Master, please follow me. Your nose is really powerful. Compared to secret treasures, it's not inferior." Hearing this, Night Sorrow praised again. He didn't expect that purifying the three-eyed silver wolf on a whim would have such a great effect now. He could not detect any of the scents around him. Qing Yun, who was at the side, also didn't sense anything strange. She also felt that the nose of the three-eyed silver wolf was very rare. He praised, "This talent of yours is useless in battle, but when it comes to finding something, it's really amazing." Of course. In the Blood Evil organization, I was assigned to patrol the palace. That was definitely a waste of talent. The three-eyed silver wolf said proudly. Then, it led Night Sorrow and Qing Yun to search for the entrance. After searching for several locations, he finally found the place. Once again, they entered the passageway set up by the Blood Evil organization. As soon as he entered, Night Sorrow discovered another array pattern that was similar to the previous one. He recalled the situation of the previous passageway and compared it. The passageway in front of us is almost the same as the one we just passed through. It's almost the same. Should we try to break the formation again? When Qing Yun heard Night Sorrow's words, she looked at the array runes and said, Since there's no way out, let's press forward." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he walked towards the array pattern in front of him again. This time, he did not keep the two of them into the Eternal Divine Tower. When Qing Yun and the three-eyed silver wolf saw Night Sorrow walking forward, they immediately followed. After the three of them stepped onto the array pattern, 10 blood corpses immediately appeared in the passageway. These 10 blood corpses were similar to the ones that appeared in the previous passageway. However, their auras were even stronger. It's really similar to the previous passageway. "Exterminate them," Night Sorrow said, and led Qing Yun and the three-eyed silver wolf to fight the blood corpses in front of them. This time, it was the same as the previous one. Ordinary attacks had no effect on the blood corpses at all. In the end, he used the Dragon of Virtue to kill these 10 blood corpses. After that, Night Sorrow brought the two of them and continued to break through. What they encountered was almost the same as the previous passageway. However, some of the blood corpses they encountered were much stronger. After passing the 4th checkpoint, the three-eyed silver wolf frowned and said, "This array pattern in front of us won't teleport us out again, right?" "Probably so. Looking at the array pattern in front of me, it looks similar to the previous one," Night Sorrow judged. "In order to prevent us from being separated, you guys had better enter the Eternal Divine Tower." As he spoke, he kept Qing Yun and the three-eyed silver wolf into the Eternal Divine Tower. After that, he stepped into the 5th checkpoint's array pattern again. Just as they had guessed, when he appeared again, he appeared in the periphery of the Imperial Palace again. After standing firm, Night Sorrow let the two of them out. He looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and said, "Sure enough, it's the same as our judgment. Smell it again and see if it's the same as the previous area." "Yes, Master." The three-eyed silver wolf responded and once again displayed its bloodline power, smelling the surrounding smell. After a while it said, "Master, this place is different from the previous 2 times. Then let's find the entrance again." Night Sorrow thought for a moment, and felt that it might be similar to the previous time. They had fallen into a new plane again. He continued to let the three-eyed silver wolf find the entrance. "Yes, Master. It's just that this time the smell is much lighter. It might take some time to find the entrance," the three-eyed silver wolf judged. "Try to be faster. But if we can't do it, there's nothing we can do." Night Sorrow looked at the Imperial Palace in the distance and said slowly, "Without a doubt, they had entered a cycle. What exactly did they need to do to find the location of the altar?" He was not very sure, but from the looks of it, they could only take one step at a time. "I'll try to find the entrance as soon as possible. Master, you guys follow me." After the three-eyed silver wolf finished speaking, it brought Night Sorrow and Qing Yun to find a new entrance again. This time, they spent about 2 hours before they found the right place. After entering, they encountered the same thing as the previous few passages. After a bitter battle, they exterminated all the blood corpses and arrived in front of the 5th checkpoint's array pattern. At this time, Night Sorrow frowned and said, "Something doesn't seem right. This time, after killing so many blood corpses, the power of virtue in my body did not increase at all. This proves that the blood corpses that we killed just now seem to be illusory. We are most likely in an illusion." In an illusion? If we activate the 5th checkpoint's array pattern, then we will enter a series of illusions? Hearing this, Qing Yun immediately said doubtfully. Chapter 3308. I guess that might be the case. Night Sorrow nodded as he observed the runes. The three-eyed silver wolf looked at the runes as well. These bastards from Blood Fiends are really powerful. They want us to be trapped in a loop forever. If it were any other day, it wouldn't matter if we were trapped for a period of time. We can slowly break the array and find a way out. But Blood Fiends is fighting with our family and friends. We can't waste time like this. We have to think of a way to break the array. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and said, "Restriction Breaking Hammer, Eternal Divine Tower, help me think of a way too." Then he summoned the Restriction Breaking Hammer and Eternal Divine Tower. Actually, we've already studied the illusion array in front of us in the Grotto Heaven. Although this place looks extremely real and can't be broken, it's definitely fake. What we need to do is to destroy this fake world. As for how we're going to do it, we're not sure. The male hammer of the Restriction Breaking Hammer said immediately after it was summoned. The female hammer, who had not spoken for a long time, continued after the male hammer finished speaking. "I guess that one way to break the illusion in front of us is to reach a certain level of strength, at least half-step to Supreme Realm, and can see the true essence of the array. Secondly, one's strength has to reach a certain level. One can be unreasonable and directly break the array in front of us. One can defeat 10 with one's strength. Think about it. Even if everyone's array formation is exquisite, can it trap a Lamitu? Makes sense. The Restriction Breaking Hammer, and the rest have a point." Xiaowu agreed after hearing what the Restriction Breaking Hammer said. However, he controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to observe and couldn't see through the array in front of them. He asked in confusion, "The Eternal Divine Tower we're controlling is a half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon. Why can't we see through the illusion in front of us? It should require a half-step to Supreme Realm Cultivator to see through it." The male hammer of the Restriction Breaking Hammer said after Xiaowu finished speaking. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "Since we can't understand what's going on with this array, then we'll use the old method to break the array." He felt that the Restriction Breaking Hammer's analysis was very reasonable. Under the circumstances where they didn't know what was going on with the array, this was the only way. This was a solution that wasn't a solution. The old method. Breaking the formation by force? Little 5 didn't quite understand what Yishang was talking about. Little 7 reacted and asked, "Yes. It's the same as what we did in the past." Night Sorrow explained, "The Eternal Divine Tower will directly attack the runes of the 5th stage with its strongest attack." According to his judgment, the most problematic part was the 5th stage's formation pattern. After all, it was these runes that looked similar to each other that brought them into different environments. Alright. However, are you sure that we should directly use our strongest attack? Isn't it a little exhausting to use your strongest attack on an array pattern? Little 5 felt that directly using his strongest attack would consume a lot of energy, so he was a little reluctant. Seeing Little 5's reluctance, Night Sorrow said, "Time is everything. This attack might not be appropriate, but we have to attack. I can't let my family and friends wait for too long. Do you understand what I mean? Alright. I'll do it now. I'll definitely use my strongest attack without holding back." Hearing this, Little 5 immediately understood Night Sorrow's meaning, and immediately gathered the power of the Eternal Divine Tower. Using his strongest attack, he blasted the runes in front of him. Buzz. This attack from the Eternal Divine Tower was definitely even more ferocious than Night Sorrow's strongest attack. It blasted the runes in front of them and immediately made a loud noise. It directly blasted the invisible film in front of them. The moment the invisible film shattered, everything in front of them was like broken glass, instantly shattering and then quickly disappearing. However, what appeared again was still a similar scene. It seemed that no one had moved. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and said, "Three-eyed silver wolf, sniff and see what's the situation here." "Yes, master." The three-eyed silver wolf responded and used his talent to transform into a wolf, using his sense of smell to explore the space in front of him. After exploring for a while, the three-eyed silver wolf transformed back into a human. "This is the place where we just entered. The floor just now. Do you understand?" "Understood. In other words, we've returned to the space just now," Night Sorrow replied, then looked at the eternal sacred tower and said, "Little 5. Continue to attack the runes in front of us. Maintain the same intensity as before? The eternal divine tower can only use that level of attack a few times. Every time we use it against a strong enemy, we will have one less chance to counterattack," Little 5 said after hearing the order. "Let's use it once first, then study the others." Night Sorrow nodded, thinking of the threat that old demon blood fiend would bring to the island. How could he care about treasuring resources? "Okay." Little 5 responded and struck out again. This time, the attack was almost exactly the same as before. The scene in front of them was once again like the ice surface, completely shattering. When the scene in front of them appeared again, Little 5 asked directly, "Do you still want to use the same attack?" "One more time." Night Sorrow did not hesitate and said firmly. Then Little 5 attacked again, shattering the small world in front of them again. This time, under the confirmation of the three-eyed silver wolf, they were sure that they had appeared in the passageway that they had entered the first time. At this moment, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and continued, "Little 5. Continue." "Okay." Again. Little 5 roared loudly, and then controlled the eternal divine tower to launch another attack. Just as Little 5 attacked, Night Sorrow, who had gone all out, also shot the godly shot. The two attacks, almost at the same time, bombarded the runes in front of them. It caused a huge commotion on the spot. At the same time, an invisible door in front of them was forcibly blasted open. Everyone looked over, and found that a new path had appeared in the passageway. This time, without the three-eyed silver wolf saying anything, Night Sorrow and the rest had already smelled the thick smell of blood. Smelling this smell, Qing Yun immediately frowned and said, "This is the smell of the blood pool. We have entered the space where the blood pool is. The blood pool is there. The altar is there. Found it, we finally found it. Yes. This is the smell of the blood pool. Let's rush in and destroy the altar. The strength of everyone in the Blood Fiend organization will be reduced by at least 50%. The three-eyed silver wolf who sniffed carefully said with certainty. Finally walking out of the illusion and finding the altar, he was very excited. At this moment, an extremely cold voice came from the depths of the passageway. "This is the first time I've seen someone so happy to die." Second leader. This voice comes from the most mysterious second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. Hearing this voice, Qing Yun immediately judged. Chapter 3309. Second leader? In that case, we found the right place. It's good that we found the right one. Hearing Qing Yun's words, Night Sorrow immediately rejoiced. No matter what, they had already found the main character now, and could fight with real swords and spears. Unlike earlier, they could only circle around in the illusion array. Master, be careful. This second leader is very mysterious. He has used many names to show people. But as for who he is exactly, only Old Fiend Blood Fiend knows. Now that he has already advanced to half-step extreme realm, his strength is rather formidable. Especially near the blood pool and altar, his combat strength will at least increase by 50%. The three-eyed silver wolf saw Night Sorrow's performance, and immediately opened its mouth to remind. Afraid that he would underestimate the extremely troublesome second leader, because of his carelessness. In their hearts, this second leader was even more terrifying than Old Fiend Blood Fiend. Basically, those heinous matters of the Blood Fiend organization were all presided over by him. Relax, this matter concerns human lives. I won't have any carelessness. At the same time that Night Sorrow responded, he opened the sea serpent's eye and looked into the depths of the passageway. This time he did not see any formation patterns. He ordered, "Everyone charge in with me and destroy the Blood Fiend altar. Break one of their legs." At this time Qing Yun transmitted, "Wait. The Blood Fiend organization's people, fighting at the location of the blood pool. Their strength is virtually inexhaustible. If possible, can we lure them out to fight? These people left behind by the Blood Fiend organization are guarding the altar. Even when we were breaking the formation, they did not leave the blood pool half a step. It's impossible to lure them out now. Let's charge in." Night Sorrow, who did not wish to delay for a moment, roared and took the lead to charge into the passageway. "Let's follow too." The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun exchanged a glance and followed closely behind. Several dozen breaths later, they appeared in the space where the altar and blood pool were located. This space occupied a very vast area, and did not look like an underground world at all. The blood pool that they spoke of was actually a blood sea with a radius of 1,000 miles. In the center of the blood sea, there was a tall altar that reached straight to the sky. Currently, a stooped figure stood on the altar. Taking a look, the three-eyed silver wolf reminded, "The one standing on the altar is the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. Normally, most of the Blood Fiend organization's matters are managed by him. I can feel his strength." After replying, Yishang looked at the vast sea of blood. He said angrily, "How many people's blood is needed to gather the blood pool? The Blood Fiend organization, Blood Fiend organization. After we destroy the Blood Fiend altar, we must annihilate everyone in this organization. Yes, this kind of heinous beast doesn't have the right to live in this world." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, the three-eyed silver wolf agreed. At this moment, the people who were recovering in the Eternal Divine Tower all asked to fight. Now that they had regained their consciousness, they knew clearly what kind of torture their family and friends had suffered. Get ready to become a part of the Blood Sea. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization stood on the altar, raised his arms and roared. He controlled the Blood Sea and made it surge. After the Blood Sea surged, about 30 cultivators with their eyes closed gradually rose from the bottom of the sea. After these cultivators rose into the air, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization said coldly, "Kill all the invaders." Yes. After he gave the order, these cultivators covered in blood opened their eyes one by one and locked their gazes on Night Sorrow's group. Every cultivator's eyes were filled with blood-red killing intent. They stared at Night Sorrow's group as if they were looking at dead people. Their aura was very scary. They seemed to be much stronger than before. Seeing these blood-red cultivators, Qing Yun couldn't help but say, the 30 cultivators in front of them gave off a very strong feeling. At this moment, the three-eyed silver wolf reminded, "Master, summon all of our men." Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Everyone, let's attack together and test the enemy's strength. I'll make further arrangements. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow followed the three-eyed silver wolf's suggestion and summoned all the cultivators in the Eternal Divine Tower. By the time everyone had been summoned, there were already about 60 cultivators on Night Sorrow's side. It was basically twice the number of the opponent, but he didn't have the slightest mentality of having an advantage. That was because the 60 cultivators in front of him were all purified by him with the power of merit. Although their cultivation didn't drop because they gave up the Blood Fiend power, their strength had decreased. Even if it was 2 against 1, they might not be a match for the 30 blood-red cultivators in front of him. However, Night Sorrow was already very satisfied with such a situation. After all, when he first arrived at the periphery of the palace, he was facing more than 100 cultivators alone. At that time, there was no hope at all. If they could destroy the altar of the Blood Fiend organization, it would be equivalent to Night Sorrow defeating half of the Blood Fiend organization with his own strength. So these people have all been purified by you. Do you have the power of merit? After Night Sorrow summoned many cultivators, the second leader immediately locked his gaze on Night Sorrow and asked maliciously, "It's useless to say more. Kill." At this moment, Night Sorrow didn't waste any more words and directly ordered. He was in no mood to listen to the second leader's nonsense. Kill. With the strength of these small fries that you purified? What a joke. After the second leader sneered, he suddenly shuddered a few times. Then his doppelganger suddenly appeared on the altar. After this doppelganger appeared, it immediately charged towards Night Sorrow and said coldly, "People like you are the enemy of the Blood Fiend organization. You must die today. You want to kill me? I'm afraid it's not enough with just your doppelganger." Night Sorrow used the eye of the sea serpent to observe, and found that the doppelganger of the second leader only had the strength of an upper heavenly supreme. It hadn't reached the level of a half-step to supreme realm. He said disdainfully, and used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot out the godly spear. Then he shot out the roaring flame demon spear at the 30 cultivators who were charging towards him. At the same time, seeing that Night Sorrow had made his move, the cultivators who were summoned all started fighting with the 30 blood-red cultivators. It seems that I have underestimated you. It seems that you, a lower heavenly supreme, are not easy to deal with. Facing Night Sorrow's godly spear, the doppelganger summoned by the second leader wanted to take it head-on. However, it was blown apart by the spear. He immediately sneered. Chapter 33:10. The laughter of the second-in-command of the Blood Evil organization was filled with mockery and arrogance. Although the first clone had been killed in an instant, he did not take Night Sorrow seriously at all. Hearing his laughter, Yishang coldly replied, "Why don't you come over and fight me yourself? If you don't dare to come down, I'll go up." You want to come up? You'll have to defeat my puppet clone first. Otherwise, you don't have that right. Hearing this, the second-in-command, who was standing on the altar, let out a sinister laugh. Then he summoned a puppet clone. This time, the clone he summoned had the aura of a half-step to the supreme realm. The skin on its face had been torn off by some unknown method, revealing the blackened flesh inside. It was wearing a gray robe that was stained with blood. Dripping blood flowed down, making the scene look extremely sinister. After sizing it up, Yishang was certain that this blood corpse avatar had been refined into a doppelganger by the second commander after killing a half-step Supreme Realm expert. The cruel thing was that the half-step to the Supreme Realm expert's face had been torn off. "You've really barged into hell. I'm going to help my master tear you to pieces. I'm going to make a new puppet clone." While Night Sorrow was sizing up the bloody corpse, it let out a hoarse roar and flew up. It twisted its body and clawed viciously at Night Sorrow. A few of its fingernails instantly lengthened and scratched several dark red bloody marks in the void. Is being refined into a clone and helping the evildoer something that you want to do in your cultivation? In the face of the puppet clone's attack, Night Sorrow immediately used the defiant 9 steps to dodge and asked coldly, "Next, I'll help you completely free yourself." Without waiting for the puppet clone to react, he used the golden heavenly halberd and used the mysterious Azure Divine Spear technique. Then he started fighting. This puppet clone was good at using its sharp claws for close combat, which was exactly what Night Sorrow wanted. Because close combat was not only fun to fight, but it was also faster to determine victory and defeat. Strong, it was strong. Weak, it was weak. Soon, the winner would be decided. "Master, don't worry and fight. We will help you fend off these blood-red cultivators." Seeing Night Sorrow fighting with the puppet doppelganger summoned by the second leader of Blood Fiends, Yi Zichen was shocked. The three-eyed silver wolf that was fighting with Qing Yun against the crimson cultivator immediately roared, "Thank you." During the battle, Night Sorrow glanced at the cultivators who were fighting. When he realized that they were evenly matched with the other party, which was obviously better than he had expected, he was no longer as worried as before. However, he still transmitted his voice to Little Five. "Little Five, I can deal with this puppet clone. Take control of the Eternal Divine Tower, and think of a way to kill a few of the Scarlet Cultivators. That way, everyone can relax a lot." He was clear that the battle had just begun, and the three-eyed silver wolf and the others would definitely be able to hold on. However, they had yet to fully recover, so they would definitely be lacking in strength. "Good. I'll find an opportunity to kill a few of them at once." After receiving the message, Little Five immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and left Night Sorrow's side, flying towards the location where the three-eyed silver wolf and the others were fighting. Find an opportunity to attack. After arranging this matter, Night Sorrow no longer paid attention to Qing Yin and the others. He began to fight with the puppet clone in front of him in peace. This puppet clone no longer had any divine essence energy in its body. However, relying on the power of the blood pool, when it fought, its divine essence energy was even more abundant than Night Sorrow's. After fighting for a while, not only did its strength and speed not decrease, it became even stronger. Night Sorrow, who was originally evenly matched with it, gradually began to fall into a disadvantage. You think you have the ability to contend with a half-step extreme realm. What's the result now? How can an ant like you provoke a half-step extreme realm expert? Now go and die. Seeing Night Sorrow being suppressed by the puppet clone, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization mocked sinisterly. Furthermore, right at this moment, he suddenly flew down from the altar. Aiming at Night Sorrow's location, he directly blasted out a blood-colored scepter. This blood-colored scepter was clearly something from the altar. At the same time it flew out, it immediately received the support of the blood pool's energy. It bloomed with a shocking blood light. Boom. Night Sorrow, who was fighting with the puppet clone, executed the heaven-defying 9 steps in a situation where he was suppressed, wanting to dodge this attack. However, he did not succeed and was hit by the blood-colored scepter on his shoulder. The area above Night Sorrow's left shoulder was immediately smashed into a bloody mess, and even his bones were exposed. You came down? Just in time. Just in time to finish off the two of you together. Eternal Divine Tower, fight with me. After being hit by the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization's scepter, Night Sorrow suffered quite a bit of injury. However, he had the bloodline of the human wolf supremacy. Under its repair, he quickly recovered completely. At this moment, Xiaowu had just controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and killed 5 blood-colored cultivators in an instant. Night Sorrow immediately summoned it over. Alright. Coming. After being summoned by Night Sorrow, Xiaowu immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to fly to his side. At the same time, Night Sorrow activated the Green Phoenix armor. After that, he activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the Destruction divine ability again. Finally, he released the power of virtue that had advanced to the middle earthly sovereign level. He turned it into a dragon of virtue and wrapped it around the golden heavenly halberd. Now that the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization had flown down to fight, he also had the thought of risking his life. These things are not bad. They will belong to me in the future. Seeing that Night Sorrow had 3 half-step to the supreme level divine artifacts, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization raised his head and revealed a sinister smile. He summoned more than 10 blood-colored corpses from the ground. The strength of these blood-colored corpses was basically on par with the blood-colored cultivators summoned from the blood pool. Seeing this situation, the three-eyed silver wolf and Qingyan immediately started to worry about Night Sorrow. The three-eyed silver wolf said, "Master, they should be able to deal with the remaining blood-colored cultivators. Qingyan and I will help you." "No need. I should be able to fight." Facing the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization, his puppet clone, and more than 10 blood-colored corpses, Night Sorrow, who had completely unleashed his aura, roared and pierced the extreme flame phantom towards the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. At the same time he said, "Xiaowu, attack those blood-colored corpses. There are too many of them. I can't deal with them. Leave it to us." However, the power in the Eternal Divine Tower is about to be exhausted. Xiaowu responded and said helplessly, "No worries. After we defeat the 2 half-step to the supreme level experts in front of us, I will let you guys absorb them." As Night Sorrow responded, the golden heavenly halberd had already reached the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. What surprised him was that the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization did not dodge this attack at all. The golden heavenly halberd directly pierced through his body. "You are..." Night Sorrow suddenly discovered a secret. However, just as he opened his mouth, the puppet clone beside him attacked. It directly interrupted his sentence. www. Chapter 33:11. What Night Sorrow wanted to say was that the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization was clearly a liquid Holy Spirit. He was clearly a living being born from the blood pool. This was because when Night Sorrow stabbed out with his spear, his body instantly transformed into a liquid state. A huge hole appeared. Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd pierced through empty air and directly pierced through his body. At the same time, the blood of the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization also stained the golden heavenly halberd. After being stained by his blood, the golden heavenly halberd was instantly corroded into a blood-red color, looking extremely evil. And at this moment, the puppet clone of the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization had also attacked. Night Sorrow frowned and used the Dragon of Virtue to purify the golden heavenly halberd. At the same time, he used the Divine Essence Trap Array and the 33 Tao Words formula. He temporarily sealed the puppet clone within it. Then, before it could react, he used the Extreme Flame Phantom. Yishang did not look down on a half-step to the Paramount Realm clone. The speed of Extreme Flame Phantasm was extremely fast. When he used it, it directly bombarded the puppet avatar. The puppet doppelganger was sent flying. The golden heavenly halberd that had turned blood red slowly recovered under the purification of the Dragon of Virtue. Bastard! How dare you hurt my puppet clone? Die! Seeing that Night Sorrow had recovered the golden heavenly halberd, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization flew into a rage. Then, he turned into a bloody mist and disappeared on the spot. The dozens of blood corpses that he summoned surrounded Night Sorrow one after another. They attacked continuously. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Five. Control the Eternal Divine Tower and attack these blood corpses. From the looks of it, using the Eternal Divine Tower to attack two half-step to Supreme Realm existences shouldn't have much effect. It's better to attack these small ones. Alright. I'll try my best to kill a few more. As Little Five responded, he used the Eternal Divine Tower's strongest attack on the blood corpses that were charging over. Night Sorrow cooperated with the Eternal Divine Tower and used the Merit Trap Array to slow down the blood corpses' speed by a lot. When the Eternal Divine Tower's attack landed on the Virtuous Trapping Array, more than half of the blood corpses were immediately destroyed. Night Sorrow counted. Originally, there were more than 10 blood corpses, but now there were only 9 left. Not good. However, just as Night Sorrow was rejoicing, a sense of crisis suddenly rose from the bottom of his heart. Without any hesitation, he used the 9 heaven-defying steps and left his original position. Just as he was about to leave, the Blood Fiend's second leader, who had transformed into a blood sword, suddenly pierced through where he had been standing. Night Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye to take a look and realized that the second leader of the Blood Fiends was attacking his Dantian. Obviously, he wanted to kill him in one strike. That was close. How can this guy's sneak attack be so silent? After Night Sorrow dodged, Little Seven immediately said in surprise. In fact, the sneak attack by the second leader of the Blood Evil organization was completely untraceable. Yishang had only dodged it because he felt uneasy on the spur of the moment. After Little Seven finished speaking, he frowned and said, "It should be because the blood aura here is too strong. And he is a creature born from the blood pool. That's why he can hide in the surrounding void without anyone noticing. It's really not easy to fight against him here." After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Seven replied and continued, "There's not much we can do for you. Let's kill a few more blood corpses." After saying that, Little Seven got Little Five to control the Eternal Divine Tower to attack the blood corpses in front of them again. After all, their attacks were at the level of half a step to the Supreme Realm. After attacking again, they killed another 4 blood corpses. The number of blood corpses in front of them was only 5. Well done. Seeing that the Eternal Divine Tower had killed another 4 blood corpses, Night Sorrow praised it and used his aura to lock onto the puppet doppelganger. Unleash a flaming attack on it. These bloody creatures in front of him gave off an extremely sinister feeling. He wanted to burn them with flames. As for the second leader of the blood corpses, he disappeared into the void again. He should be preparing another attack. Night Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye and couldn't see where he was hiding. Therefore, he couldn't take the initiative to attack him. Attacking the puppet doppelganger was the second best choice. What effect can it have against me if you don't even use your unique skill? After being attacked by Night Sorrow, the puppet doppelganger didn't bother to respond. At the same time, its aura suddenly increased. Then it waved its extremely long claws again. When the golden heavenly halberd collided with these claws, Night Sorrow realized that the puppet doppelganger had already refined its claws to the level of half a step to the supreme realm. Although these claws were at a slight disadvantage against the golden heavenly halberd, they could completely resist it and weren't shattered immediately. This was already very strong. Then the two of them entered a temporary stalemate. Seeing that Night Sorrow and the puppet doppelganger were in a stalemate and couldn't kill it instantly, Xiaowu reminded, "Be careful of the second leader of the blood corpses in the void. I've been guarding against him, but I can't feel his presence at all." While Night Sorrow replied, he continued to attack the puppet doppelganger fiercely. When he attacked with flames, he also added the power of merit. After the power of merit showed its prowess, the puppet doppelganger was instantly afraid of the golden heavenly halberd's attack. Although it was thinking of ways to counterattack, it was still suppressed. Boundless blood. At this moment, the second leader of the blood corpses, who was hiding in the void, suddenly appeared above Night Sorrow and the puppet doppelganger. He stood in the void and summoned a large amount of blood from the blood pool. He sprinkled the blood on the three-eyed silver wolf and the others who were fighting with the blood corpses. No wonder he didn't attack me. It turns out that he was plotting against others. Realizing that the second leader of the blood corpses wasn't his target, Night Sorrow was surprised and worried at the same time. He didn't want his purified friends to be instantly killed by the second leader of the blood corpses. Under such circumstances, he immediately blocked the path of the large amount of blood that was sprinkling down from the void. He used the fiery demon subduing spear. He used a large amount of flames to fight against the sea of blood that the second leader of the blood corpses summoned. Hee. You want to stop my sea of blood with just this little bit of flames? Dream on. Facing the fiery demon subduing spear that Night Sorrow used, the second leader of the blood corpses laughed sinisterly. Then, the sea of blood in front of him suddenly became dozens of times bigger. It was like a mountain that was pressing down from the void. The fiery demon subduing spear that Night Sorrow used was completely extinguished in an instant. Seeing that he couldn't stop the sea of blood in front of him, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to everyone. All of you, enter my space grotto heaven. I can't stop this sea of blood. If you are buried by the sea of blood, you might never be able to come out. When did this sea of blood appear? When the three-eyed silver wolf heard this, he immediately looked up into the void. At this moment, he realized that the second leader of the blood corpses had summoned the sea of blood and was surprised. Chapter 33:12. It was the same for the other cultivators. They only realized the existence of the blood sea when they heard the warning. Everyone was just like the three-eyed silver wolf. They were all shocked. However, they did not resist and allowed Night Sorrow to suck them into the space grotto heaven. Humph. Do you think it's useful to keep them in your space grotto heaven? I can catch all of you in one fell swoop. The second leader of the Blood Evil organization watched as Night Sorrow sucked everyone into the space grotto heaven. With a cold laugh, he controlled the blood sea that filled the sky and pressed down on Yi Shan. The blood sea covered a large area. It was basically impossible to avoid it in this small world. Night Sorrow thought it would be hard to avoid it. Therefore, he used the 9 steps of heaven defying and flew towards the almost empty blood sea. He used the god's spear on the Blood Evil altar. According to his judgment, as long as the altar was destroyed, the second leader of the Blood Evil organization's strength would be greatly reduced. As long as his strength was reduced, the blood sea was nothing to be afraid of. However, the Blood Evil altar was the lifeblood of the Blood Evil organization. Naturally, the second leader of the Blood Evil organization would not watch Night Sorrow destroy it. Just as Night Sorrow attacked, the puppet that had recovered a little appeared to block the god's spear. Although it was a little difficult to block it and was injured, it successfully protected the altar. Moreover, The Blood Sea controlled by the second leader of the Blood Evil organization was already pressing down on him. Night Sorrow did not have time to attack again. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow released his power of virtue again, and wrapped it around the Green Phoenix battle armor. He used the Dragon's Roar and Phoenix's Roar against the Blood Sea. He wanted to use this attack to disperse the Blood Sea. However, things did not go as he wished. After Night Sorrow used this attack, a small gap was opened in the Blood Sea for a short period of time. However, it quickly closed up. It did not give Night Sorrow a chance to pass through it. Seeing the Blood Sea pressing down on him, Xiaowu did not wait for Night Sorrow to speak and controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to attack. However, although the Eternal Divine Tower's attack was very powerful, when it landed on the Sea of Blood, it was like a boulder thrown into the sea. It stirred up thousands of waves, but eventually calmed down. F***CK. Wasn't this Blood Sea a little strange? Logically speaking, even if it's a half step into the Supreme Realm, it shouldn't be completely immune to our attacks, right? Little Five couldn't accept the fact that his attack didn't have any effect. There should be a way to counter everything. The Sea of Blood in front of us shouldn't be something that can be dealt with by brute force. Night Sorrow said word by word as he observed the incoming Blood Sea with the Sea Serpent's eye. As he spoke, he could clearly see the faces of ghosts in the Sea of Blood. These ghostly faces looked like they were in extreme pain. They should be the souls that were sealed in the Blood Sea. Just wait to be swallowed up. See you in the Blood Sea. At this moment, the second leader of Blood Fiends saw that the Eternal Divine Tower's attack didn't have any effect on Blood Sea. Suddenly he began to laugh cruelly. Then he raised his hands and controlled the Sea of Blood, directly engulfing the area where Night Sorrow was. Night Sorrow, who had raised his power of merit defense, was actually prepared to be engulfed by the Sea of Blood. He wasn't flustered at all. After entering the Blood Sea, he tried his best to stabilize his body and defend his surroundings to prevent any sneak attacks. However, the second leader of Blood Fiends didn't launch any sneak attacks until he reached the bottom of the Blood Sea and stood on the bloody mud. After standing firm, Night Sorrow saw the second leader of Blood Fiends waiting for him with his puppet doppelganger and over 10 bloody corpses. Seeing Night Sorrow standing firm, the second leader of Blood Fiends laughed sinisterly. Very soon, you will become a member of the Blood Sea. With your addition, the Blood Sea will definitely increase by a lot. Stop dreaming. Do you think you can defeat me here? Standing in the Blood Sea that had an extremely choking smell of blood, Night Sorrow replied coldly. At this moment he was protected by the power of merit and didn't feel any discomfort. However, he could sense that the aura of the second leader of Blood Fiends and the rest had all strengthened significantly. This should be the enhancement from the Blood Sea. Not only will I defeat you, but I will also defeat those people in your space grotto heaven. All of you will become my food. The second leader of Blood Fiends roared and ordered. Puppet Doppelganger, go and help me kill him directly. Yes, Master. The puppet doppelganger responded. At the bottom of the Blood Sea, it used its bloody claws and clawed at Night Sorrow. This time, its speed was 3 to 4 times faster than when it was outside, and the strength of its attack was also much stronger. Facing its attack, Night Sorrow didn't have any extra power of merit to use. He could only use the Divine Vitality Trap Array and the 100 Words of Mantra. He reduced its speed. After that, he roared out the Nirvana Heartfire that he had learned from Su Lei. This move mainly targeted the Divine Soul. After it was used, it might not have much effect on the puppet doppelganger. However, it drove away all the Divine Souls in the surrounding Blood Sea and made them stay away from the battle area. After driving away these Divine Souls that were sealed in the Blood Sea, Night Sorrow noticed that the strength of the puppet doppelganger instantly decreased greatly. It seems that the key to increasing their strength in the Blood Sea is mainly the Divine Souls in the Blood Sea. Night Sorrow, who had blocked the puppet doppelganger's attack, transmitted his voice to the many cultivators in the space grotto heaven. At this moment Little Seven said, Night Sorrow, I have an idea, but it's a little cruel. I don't know if I should do it. Just say it. Night Sorrow said as he fought against the puppet doppelganger. I can control the eternal divine tower to collect the divine souls in the blood sea. But after they are collected, they will become the energy of the eternal divine tower. In other words, they will be completely destroyed. Little Seven explained. Hearing this, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and told the three-eyed silver wolf and the others about this matter. After that, they discussed for a while. The three-eyed silver wolf, as the representative, said, "Master, letting the divine souls of so many relatives and friends be destroyed, we will definitely feel uncomfortable in our hearts. But this is a very special moment. If we don't break the blood sea, even we will be left here. Therefore, after discussing, we have decided to support Master in collecting them. We will no longer let them be tools to help the evildoers. I think that they themselves should also support us in doing this. The torture they have suffered in the blood sea will definitely exceed our imagination." Qing Yun said with a gloomy expression. Although making such a choice was very uncomfortable for everyone, but in the current situation they could only do this. All right. After Night Sorrow received the opinions of Qing Yun, the three-eyed silver wolf and the others, he sighed. He ordered, "Little Seven, go and do it. Actually, I feel that by doing this, we are also letting them be free. It is no different from expiation." Little Seven said and began to collect the divine souls in the blood sea. www. Chapter 33:13. After the Eternal Divine Tower was activated, it absorbed tens of thousands of souls in an instant. Moreover, when the souls in the blood pool discovered that the Eternal Divine Tower could absorb souls, they were like moths that saw fire. All of them rushed over and entered the Eternal Divine Tower. Obviously, this proved Little Seven's words. To them, this was really a relief. Seeing this scene, Qing Yun sighed and said, "Looks like it's really as Little Seven said. For them, this is a form of relief." "What's going on?" The second leader of the Blood Fiends, who originally thought that victory was within his grasp, saw the souls around him being absorbed by the Eternal Divine Tower. He immediately sneered in surprise. Then he could no longer remain calm. He extended the blood-colored scepter in his hand and attacked the Eternal Divine Tower. "You want to attack the Eternal Divine Tower? Dream on." Seeing the second leader of the Blood Fiends attacking the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow immediately held the golden heavenly halberd in his hand and blocked the blood-colored light from the blood-colored scepter. "I originally wanted to toy with you, but now it seems that you want to die faster." The second leader of the Blood Fiends roared and completely merged with the blood sea. He completely hid in the blood sea. "I thought you wanted to fight head-on. I didn't expect you to be hiding." Seeing that the second leader of the Blood Fiends had merged with the blood sea, Night Sorrow immediately used the sea serpent's eye to observe, but he couldn't see through him. After all, the second leader of the Blood Fiends was born in the blood pool, and was naturally one with the blood sea. "It's not up to you whether I'm hiding or not." After hiding, the second leader of the Blood Fiends continued, "Puppet clones, countless blood corpses, blood-colored cultivators. Become one with me." After he gave the order, the puppet clones all dissolved into blood water and poured into the blood pool. After absorbing the energy they provided, the second leader of the Blood Fiends immediately controlled the power of the blood sea to attack the Eternal Divine Tower. At this moment, the Eternal Divine Tower had already absorbed hundreds of thousands of souls under Little Seven's control. Facing the pressure of the blood water around him, he immediately set up a defensive layer as his own defense. After summoning the defensive layer, the Eternal Divine Tower was temporarily very safe. After the second leader of the Blood Evil organization merged with the Blood Sea, his attacks naturally became more secretive. He could use the blood water to attack. However, there were pros and cons. His attack power was obviously much lower. All of you have been in the Blood Evil organization before. Can anyone tell me what I should do in this situation? Night Sorrow had no idea where to start as the second leader of the Blood Evil organization had merged with the blood. Hence he asked. At this moment Qing Yun replied, "There's no need to rush. The second leader of the Blood Evil organization would reappear. When the time comes, we just need to defeat him." The three-eyed silver wolf reminded. After the second leader of the blood evil organization reappears, his strength will increase by a lot. Master, you must be careful. In addition, if Master needs assistance, you can absorb our divine essence energy at any time. I got it. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow more or less understood what the second leader of the blood evil organization was plotting. He obviously wanted to use the cover of the Sea of Blood to merge with the puppet doppelganger. He raised his strength to the maximum. He was more or less relieved. After the other party fused, the situation became much simpler. As long as he could destroy it, all the problems would be solved. So, just as Knight Sorrow was replying to the three-eyed silver wolf, sharp blades formed by the blood suddenly appeared in the Sea of Blood and shot towards Knight Sorrow. These sharp blades included sabers, spears, swords, halberds, hatchets, hooks, and forks. After they appeared, they immediately gave Knight Sorrow a lot of pressure, because he realized that these attacks were at the level of half-step to extreme state, and were not easy to deal with. While using 9 heaven-defying steps to dodge, he waved the golden heavenly halberd to resist. After resisting for a while, Knight Sorrow realized that the golden heavenly halberd had cracks on it. A weapon formed by blood is actually so powerful? Realizing that the golden heavenly halberd had cracks on it, Knight Sorrow was surprised. At the same time, he saw that the Eternal Divine Tower had also encountered a similar attack. The second leader of the blood evil organization could control the entire Sea of Blood, and could use the blood to create weapons at will to exhaust them. At this moment, Little Seven transmitted a message. Knight Sorrow, we can't continue to be attacked like this. We might not be able to hold on. I think that if we continue to stay in the Sea of Blood, we might continue to be attacked like this. Let's think of a way to leave the Sea of Blood. Knight Sorrow replied and kept the Eternal Divine Tower in his grotto heaven, no longer allowing it to absorb souls. He used the 9 steps of defiance of the heavens, and soared straight up to the surface of the Blood Sea. It's not as easy as you think to escape from the Sea of Blood. The second leader of the blood evil organization sneered when he realized that Knight Sorrow wanted to leave the Sea of Blood. Then his figure appeared again, and he blocked Knight Sorrow's escape route. Knight Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's eye to take a look and realized that the second leader of the blood evil organization in front of him had indeed improved a lot. Obviously, he had completely completed the fusion. He pointed at the other party with the golden heavenly halberd and said, I originally thought that you wouldn't come out so soon. Since you've come out, I'll kill you. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to kill me. As the second leader of the blood evil organization spoke, he raised his hand and summoned countless divine weapons to attack Knight Sorrow. These divine weapons were obviously more powerful than the previous ones. Even the golden heavenly halberd couldn't block them. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow immediately ignited his Phoenix bloodline and Jielin bloodline. After igniting the 2 bloodlines, Knight Sorrow's aura was further enhanced. He waved his hand and shot a true Phoenix fire at the second leader of the blood evil organization. Your bloodline is not bad, but it's not powerful enough. Facing Knight Sorrow's true Phoenix fire, the second leader of the blood evil organization, who controlled thousands of divine weapons, mocked him and summoned a blood-red barrier to block it. After successfully blocking Knight Sorrow's attack, the second leader of the blood evil organization sneered. You can be proud of yourself for fighting me to this extent with your cultivation of a lower heavenly sovereign. But everything for you is about to end. Accept your fate. As soon as he finished speaking, the second leader of the blood evil organization merged all the summoned divine weapons together and formed a blood-red long sword. He placed it on the top of the blood-red scepter and slashed it at Knight Sorrow. This attack brought about an endless blood-red glow. Its power was something that Knight Sorrow had never encountered before. After observing it with the Sea Serpent's eye, Knight Sorrow confirmed that this move had reached the peak of the half-step to the Supreme Realm. This level of attack was obviously beyond his current limit. He shouldn't be able to block it no matter what. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow frowned and said, It seems that I have to use that move to block it. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.